I'm going to do the quick safety consent piece. This hasn't come up, and I figure people who sign up for Unknown Armies and are familiar with it are, like people who go to listen to Pseudopod. It's like, you're getting into something that could get extremely heavy and distressing. And my goal is to keep this in the fun, keep it the fun, cool kind of horror and not the, gross, uncomfortable kind. If at any point I hit something where you're like, this has stopped being fun for me because of the content, give me one of these or send me a message in the chat and I will just, it'll be no big deal. I'll rewind it, course correct, and, try to avoid derailing the train. It hasn't happened yet, but, if it happens, it happens. I feel that this compact is particularly important in a game where you have strangers playing with other strangers, where you're not used to where people's levels have been set. And I treat it like the fire extinguisher in my kitchen. I don't expect to have to use it, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's all the safety piece. Not here to provoke anyone's unhappy reactions. So we've all got characters set in place. A couple questions for a couple of you before we start out, specifically for Kim. So I don't know how much you know about Canadian firearm ordinances, but every gun Kim owns is illegal for private ownership in Canada without extensive licensing, which you do not have the time, money, or lawyers to acquire, even if you were a Canadian citizen, which you weren't. Now, I'm going to take it as read that if you and Jesse have all the time in the world to take your guns apart and hide them in the cases of your computers, that you will be able to smuggle them up north if you want to. So, do you want to?
Well, who's playing Jesse here?
That's me.
Oh, Todd, can you change your, there's three dots in the corner of your thing, and you can change the name, change your name as it shows up, rename. If you change that to Jesse, it'll be easier for my, rapidly aging brain to keep track of who's who.
And you can just right-click your picture. You don't need to hit the three dots.
Oh, okay. See, old man brain telling you. All right, so yeah, you gonna go up all loaded for bear, go up, less loaded for bear, or just go up feeling naked and vulnerable with no fire, with not even one firearm?
Yeah, I get the impression Kim isn't terribly fond of bringing guns everywhere he goes, but I'll bring them if you think we need them. What do you think?
Jesse?
Did that work? It did not work.
It did not.
So if you right-click on your picture,
Yeah.
you then see something that pops up that says rename.
Could be a phone thing.
Oh, yeah.
So on the far corner of my phone, it says the three dots with more, but I got raise hand, hide my video, hide my name.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
We'll
the
just have to
host,
remember it.
should be able to
Amelia
rename
might be able to.
Todd as well.
Otherwise, we'll just,
see.
since everybody else has one, we can at least process elimination.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, what is your opinion of, your traumatized war veteran friend showing up with, a, say, short-barreled AR-10 up in Canada? On one hand, that could be very useful. People have a tendency to do exactly what you tell them when you are pointing a gun at them. On the other hand, it's a gun.
Karen is very supportive of whatever Kim decides.
Yeah,
Kim's
well,
an expert. Kim is competent and knows.
Yeah, Kim may not consult with you. It may just be a fait accompli. The only person Kim seems to care about asking is Jesse. So, Jesse, what do you think Kim should do?
So I personally am not bringing a gun up to Canada with me. If I've talked over it with Kim, I'll help her smuggle. But
Kim. Kim is also a man's name.
sorry. Yep. I will also help him smuggle, but I'm not bringing any of my own.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's another question that I forgot to ask. Karen and Cloissoné are women. Everyone else, I tried to make the names as gender non-specific and provide both male and female options in the pictures. So we've got masculine Kim. Are we going with masculine Jesse or feminine Jesse, and masculine Angel or feminine Angel?
I'm going to go
Masculine Jesse.
Yeah.
Masculine Jesse and
masculine Angel. I am not great at voices.
possibly Angel, but all right. So yeah, if you want to stick your pictures in the chat, that may be helpful. Cloissoné, you're can you like come to the side? Yeah, there she is, Kim's daughter. Yeah, let me know if you want to see the pictures. So, okay. Oh, there it is. What a delightfully low-tech solution.
I know my limitations, Greg, so I brought some paper with me.
Wise. All right. So you're going up. So, Kim, you're going up unarmed?
I'm not going to go up unarmed. I'm not going to bring a firearm.
Okay.
I'm going to bring the K-bar. And also, my name is
barely a weapon.
My name is K. Ibarra, and I'm a Marine. Did I go by K-bar? Is that my nickname? Like,
oh, probably. Yeah, probably you always wanted it to be, but because you were, because you were a person other than Grunt, they didn't call you that, or they called you it ironically until you got shot.
Yeah. And as a doctor, I call people exactly what they ask me to. So you're K-Bar, my friend.
There it is. All right. Speaking of Dr. Coulbard, I presume you're gonna bring up. I mean, your equipment includes enough Cipitol to tranquilize a zoo, and you also have what in a previous session I decided was called Dr. Coulbard's Woodstock in a bag. Once I'm done with this and I'm writing it up, I'll probably hit up actual anesthetists for, okay, so if I wanted to drop something in a drink and make it like it was 6 drinks, what drug would that be? And, okay, what's a good oral anesthesia that what's a good oral painkiller you'd give to someone who's just been stabbed? And that sorts of questions. But yeah, you have a pretty broad pharmacological assortment with you in the anesthetic region, because that's your thing you do. You don't have nearly as many, you don't have like exotic antibiotics. That would be a Delta Green character. So yeah, but you can take that up almost legally. No one's going to go through your pills and sort out the the mislabeled ones. The Cipitol has been disguised. Just so you know, that's an injectable. If you're going to give it to somebody, you need to have them in, ideally sitting down or reclined, and give them an injection, and then it'll kick in. I modeled it on what's the stuff? Not fentanyl, the other one. I'll remember it later. Okay, so you have driven yourselves up to Canada. I'm presuming got like an Airbnb or something. And yeah, the museum is in Quebec City specifically. It is a fictional museum called Le Musée de la Civilisation Américaine. The only person who speaks any French is Cloissoné. But Quebec is a bilingual city. The way I've had it explained to me is that everyone a tourist interacts with will say, bonjour, hello. And if you answer in French, and if you answer in English. So, yeah. You guys have gotten checked in. I presume Jesse went and buried something in the backyard, as you do.
Was going to mention that, yes.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, it didn't save you from Steve, but who knows how much worse that could have been.
Yeah, that was when I to knock out immediately.
Yep. Okay, so you put a check mark by that and get to the Civ, as it is called. It's not a very big museum. Let me set the scene for it. Quebec has a big green space called Battlefield Park. It seems to be I've never been to Quebec City, but this seems to be analogous to Central Park in New York, the big public green space. It has some real museums and cultural areas attached to it. And our fictional museum, the Civ, is down at its southern end. Now, what's fun about Battlefield Park is that it's a big flat green space that abuts to an edge of a cliff. The cliff is at about this angle, so it's quite steep. Not quite 90 degrees like Dover cliffs, but it's very steep. Nobody could run up that except, the highest end of athletes. It's 55 meters and planted with trees all along. So if you tripped and fell, it wouldn't be like you would plunge straight down like you fell off a building, but you would roll and you would be banging off trees like a ball in a pachinko machine.
It would be Looney Tunes.
It wouldn't be a fun time. You would have a lot of tree bark embedded in your parts. The Civ is right up to the edge of that. So the terrace on your map just is over that, hanging out over it a little bit. So it's a great view. At the bottom of the cliff, you've got a thin row of industrial and residential mixed use, and it's very thin. I checked it out on Google Earth, and I'm like, that's a weird little thin patch of houses. Then you get a highway, and then another thin patch of houses, and then the St. Lawrence Seaway. So that's the setup. The Civ is a small museum. It's not a big MoMA type place. One story, probably very concentrated. It's like we do one thing, and that is the history of civilization in North America. And we have this art annex in the back because one of our donors really insisted, and hey, you don't leave money on the table. So at what time of day is the crew going to go scope it out?
Can I ask you a quick clarifying question?
Sure.
Does Karen have Canada outfits or U.S. outfits? Is her police officer outfit a Canadian police officer, or is it a United States police officer?
It's specifically a Cincinnati police officer outfit.
Thanks.
Yeah, the fireman's outfit is a turnout coat. That's pretty generic. It also weighs a ton and is incredibly bulky. So you can't just stuff that in a small clutch and take it anywhere. Oh, by the way, what does your invisibility cloak look like? This is always a fun question.
It looks like a 1920s black lace-upon lace Art Deco piece.
Sweet.
I have a picture of it. I'll put it in the chat.
Cannot wait. All right, so yeah, what time do you guys want to go to the museum and scope it out?
Well, Dr. Colbert is just going to pull up the Google Trends with the little histogram and say we should go at whatever the busiest time is.
Okay, well, y'all got in on a Wednesday, and Wednesday, there aren't a lot of really busy times. The museum probably wishes it was busier than it is. It has not been at capacity probably in 2 years, and I got to check out this cloak. But yeah, probably, some big exhibit came through, and they were briefly had a lot of people, but then it settled back down to its normal thing of tour groups from, middle schools and tourists like you. So yeah, probably mid-afternoon, busiest, like 2:30. It's open till 8 at night.
Well, I don't think we've anything to worry about as long as we go and we just enjoy what's there.
Okay.
And, as well look around, but it'll be a nice trip no matter what.
Sure. Are the 5 of you going to go in a cluster, or are you going to go in singly or in pairs? How are you planning this?
I think Karen would try to go with Cloissoné and be a mother and a daughter visiting a museum.
That was just the classic. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Very nice.
That works.
Sure.
I think Jesse would roll in with Kim.
Yeah, and no one's going to suspect us. She pushed my wheelchair.
Okay. Yeah, you do not always need the wheelchair. You can get through your day without using it at all. It's only if you've really pushed yourself, like walking a whole mile. After that, yeah, you're going to be pretty shagged and probably need it. But most of the time you don't. On the plus side, your arms were huge when you were in the Corps, and they are huger now. So there's a little bit of, you kind of look like a He-Man doll on top of a Barbie doll's legs.
It's the upside down triangle.
Yep. All right, so the 2 of them, Dr. A, you going in solo or no? Or
I think I'm going to try to go with K-Bar here and just
Okay.
kind of keep an eye on things unless one of them strongly objects.
All right, boys on one side, girls on the other side. You guys got the map of the museum, right? Where are you headed? You come in the front. There's a large glass panel with a sliding door that is the entryway, entree. That's where the ramp is. You go in there. You pay your admission fee. Where are you headed? Let's start with Karen and Cloissoné. Where do you guys want to head first?
Cool. One other quick thing, too, just kind of before we went in. So if any of you found any garments possessed by security or curators or anything like that, something small that could be not missed, and you could lift it, that might be helpful.
Okay. All right. So you're looking out for hats, scarves.
Yeah. All that stuff. And, maybe they'll do with that what they will.
Okay. Yeah. So, ladies, where are you headed?
Cloissoné, where should we go?
Souvenirs.
Sounds great. Might as well make a day of it, right?
Okay. You walk into Souvenirs, and there is all kinds of Civ Museum branded merch. There's nothing with the head on it, but you got postcards, you've got T-shirts, you've got blankets depicting Quebec City, and one that has a pattern of the museum itself woven into it. So, looks okay. 3 gents, where are you headed?
Mesoamerica.
Okay. Mesoamerica, to your experienced eye, especially Jesse's like, this is where the security is focused. And you can see that there's not actually a camera in the Mesoamerican room, but there are cameras that cover all the approaches to the Mesoamerican room. And the reason for that is there's gold. They have a pretty, not a ton of gold, but, it's gold. There's a probably 8-inch tall statuette of Camazotz the Bat God. There's another squatter, broader gold statue of one of those goddesses who's got corn growing out of her head. There are some onyx statuary. And standing and looking at the black onyx stuff is a somewhat imposing figure. You can't tell at first if you're looking at a woman or a man. It's just this tall, thin, dark, entity. They've got their hood up so that their face is in shadow. Yeah, and they are staring at the black statues rather intently with their arms folded.
Oh, excuse me, is this a subject area? Just at museums, it's always interesting to find the different perspectives that people bring when choosing what to observe. I was curious if you had any, perhaps, domain knowledge?
I haven't made much of a study of the Mesoamericans. I'm thinking about how people describe them as a dark culture due to their sacrificial proclivities and the way that they would kill people to ensure that the sun would rise again. And whereas it seems to me that if that was the deal, you might as well just get used to having it be night all the time. To me, that seems like the lesser sacrifice. But perhaps my perspective is a little biased.
Are you perhaps invested in lunar agriculture?
No, I'm not actually a farmer, although it does sound fascinating. I'm actually a yoga instructor.
Ah, I see.
Yourself?
I'm a doctor, retired, I guess, but I was once a doctor. Well, I guess...
That sounds like a very difficult job, constantly struggling against matter's natural inclination to run down and cease function.
Yes, I imagine there's only so many times you can be the one to make the sunrise before it rather does take something out of you, I would say.
Is that how you see your job, giving people one more sunrise?
I think it's how it was, and then one day it stopped, and I figured I probably ought to be doing something else.
Everything stops in time. Best to move on rather than cling to what can't be recovered.
Yes, immobile as crystal.
And so as he says, best to move on rather than cling to what can't be recovered, the head maybe turns just a little bit towards Kim in the wheelchair, but then turns back.
It's my unnatural. I don't think that freaks me out, but it's...
What's this shadowy figure's accent sound like?
It sounds like it's not Quebecois, it's an American accent. If someone forced you to guess, you'd say American Southwest.
Are you from the States?
Yes, absolutely. I presume you are too, from the sound of your voice.
Yeah, cool.
Holds out a hand to shake your hand and says, I'm the darkness.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah. I'll shake his hand, a little confused.
The darkness does not seem particularly interested in alleviating your confusion. Are you going to tell them a name? Your actual name? Anything at all? Their hand is surprisingly cold, by the way.
My name's Kim.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Kim.
Yeah. All right.
And looks up at Jesse and kind of... It's hard to gauge the expressions of somebody who has their hood up that deep, but, looks up at you, tilts the head, somewhat inquiringly.
I give him a nod. Pleasure.
Are you interested in particular in Mesoamerican statuary?
To be honest, I knew most of the words that came out of your mouth just then. I go where the paycheck takes me, and I pat Kim on the shoulder.
It's a necessity. We all have to do something to pay the bills, I suppose.
Yeah, what do you do?
Yoga instructor, and also a little bit of music. There's not a lot of money in folk music these days.
It's true.
But I suppose the argument is that I'm keeping it pure. And as they say that, their shoulders drop a little bit.
Oh.
I like to think I wouldn't sell out, but honestly, it would be nice to have the option and know for sure. But I'm going on and on about myself. And, you know, the darkness nods at you and sort of slinks off on its own. All right, picking up anything at the souvenir shop?
I mean, I think Karen is judgmental of the garments there, and she's just kind of like, they're like, because are they largely uninspired? It's just kind of like, is there anything there that's like, wow, this is like a neat way to do this?
There's the cheap touristy crap, which is, you know, decent quality t-shirts, screen printed with the logo. Yeah. And then there's nothing in the middle, and then there's the overpriced scarves decorated with patterns from the exhibits. And some of that stuff's kind of cool. But it's a lot of money.
Okay. I mean, I think she'll linger there and kind of get ideas and get inspiration for the future. But, okay. You know, it's kind of the level of interest there.
All right. Yeah. If you've seen what you want to see at souvenirs, where next?
So I think Cloissoné, I just feel terrible. I didn't take time to put on my face. Do you mind if we run to the bathroom real quick?
Yeah.
Sure, it's near the cafe.
Oh, you're hungry? We should definitely get a snack then.
All right. Yeah, there's three sets of bathrooms. There's actually one right behind the souvenirs, but you could go check out the cafe too. Cafe's set up a little unusually in that you can walk up to it from the outside. There's a counter where you can buy stuff, and there's chairs and tables outside under awnings. Or you can come in on the inside and get served there, but you can't really cross back and forth between the inside and the outside. They're trying to keep people coming in through the entryway so they can keep track of who's inside and, you know, their statistics of attendance. But yeah, you can head to the cafe and give me a, Cloissoné, give me a notice roll. Karen is presumably distracted by mentally autopsying the garment choices of everybody they pass by.
Yes, it's true.
Got a 3.
What? 3. Okay, that's pretty good. So you pick up on one, there's a camera right up in the corner over the cafe, and 2, the camera wire goes through a wall, and you can see there's just a little bit of light coming out of that. So you're guessing, you're like, oh, I bet that's where the room that all the cameras go into is. And so watching that, you in fact see the door open, there's the bank of monitors, guard comes out, goes to the cafe to re-up his coffee. So you have found the guard booth. You've also found one of the exit doors.
Does the guard booth have like a key card or a manual key?
Manual key.
Okay. And he goes into the cafe?
Yep.
I follow him.
Okay. And he's speaking French to the counter attendant. I don't think you need to roll. They're just having a, mild bandage about, you're going to make us go broke with taking advantage of the employee coffee discount. And he's like, it's only 10%, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, you sure you're going just for cold pressed black? You sure you don't want a giant frothy espresso caramel? And he's like, no. I'm not courting the diabetes Okay, so you go. Give me your roll to cast Glad Rags and tell everyone what it does.
Okay. Basically, what Karen does is she goes in the bathroom. I was successful. I rolled a 31. So
Okay.
she goes to the bathroom and starts kind of like, she takes out a little lint brush and kind of does, a little lint removal thing, and starts, maybe even pulls out like a small like press machine, right? Just a handheld, like cheesy late night gadget thing, and gets the very edges of her clothes. And what Glad Rags does is that it just makes her look really put together clothes-wise, and allows me to flip-flop a connect or a status roll.
Okay.
Because I just look so darn good.
Yep. So your mom goes into the bathroom looking like mom, comes out looking like the Hollywood version of mom.
Hollywood mom.
And yeah, the guard seems alert but not paranoid. Seems like so if you had a scale, and on this end is just phoning it in, asleep at the stick, and at this end is hypervigilant Secret Service guy ready to throw himself between the president and an assassin. These guards seem to be pretty much in the middle. They are not, they're not goofing off on the job. They are not the killer elite creme de la creme. You can see that their uniforms consist of UPS brown colored pants, a matching polo shirt with no tie, a name tag with a logo from a security company. I'm borrowing the name Intensecure from William Gibson. I'll have to come up with a better name for, once this is published. Their shoes their shoes are different from person to person. They all have black shoes, but it's clear that, the dress code is men's black shoes, but not these specific shoes. But they all do have the same gun belt. They are armed with handguns, flashlight, looks like pepper spray, zip ties, and radios. So, yeah, cop light, but armed response. Gonna go talk to that guard or not?
Does he have the keys on the belt or in his pocket?
He seems to keep them in his pocket. Jesse, give me a notice roll.
Oh, and Greg, you sent me something that was called Jesse Notes Floor Plan. Was that supposed to go to Jesse?
Oh, that was supposed to go to everybody.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And also, before I know what this role is for, when you mentioned that there's no cameras in the meso room, Jesse would look around to see if they have like a patrol routine going on. If somebody...
Oh, there seems to be a single guard. There's a single guard who's hanging out there now. You don't know if he's, always standing there, if there's one always standing there, but it would surprise you if the guards sort of filter in and out of there. It's a no-brainer to have a heavy guard presence. And although there aren't cameras directly on the exhibits, the expensive stuff is in glass cases, and you've seen these before. They are kept pressurized, so if there's a breach in the surface of the glass, if you break it, cut it, tip it up, whatever, it will start outgassing, and a barometric pressure alarm can go off. They're tricky. Fortunately, you don't have to steal the gold stuff.
I get a 52. My notice is 60.
Okay. Yeah. This adorable little old woman comes up and asks if you are... Did you guys stick in Mesoamerica? Did you go to see something else?
I would have gone to the Autochtones de Plains, however you say that, right below.
Autochtones de Plains. Okay, so natives of the Great Plains. And, this is some interesting stuff. There is Dr. A and Kim looking at, actually, it's probably just Dr. A. Kim is looking at the technology. You'll get a rundown on that presently. Jesse's looking for, crime shit. You're the one like, oh, I wonder let's look at the actual displays. And it talks about the mound builder cultures and mentions that an artifact called an artifact believed to depict the bone setter of days and years is on the terrace, and that it is a giant stone head. So now estimated to be 3,000 years old. What Jesse notices is that the charming docent, who looks like she's like 80 years old and 80 pounds heavy, soaking wet, comes up to you and is asking, if you're interested in it, and you're pretty sure, her belt is hanging off of her. It's through the loops, but you're like, if she was distracted for a minute, or if I bumped into her, yeah, I could get that belt off her.
Well, I think I should do that.
Okay. Are you gonna? How are you going to distract her while you steal her clothes?
I'm gonna lean forward and tell Kim what I'm seeing, and say, "Give me a couple seconds of distraction. It might save us a few hours of work later on."
Yeah, I'll just tip the old chair.
Oh, okay. So, and she's like, "Oh, are you all right?" And comes over to help you.
Angel runs over like, "What happened? What happened?"
I think I hit a bump or something. I'm off balance. Fell.
Did you tip the whole thing over on its side, or just like a little like, oh? Ah.
Oh yeah. So I want to like tip it a little bit and then make like a big show of trying to get my balance, which causes me to fall all the way.
Wow. Okay. So the full tip. All right. Yeah. Give me an athletics roll.
Yeah. That is 29.
Okay. Yeah. You're able to do this, and you can make it look like you could go all the way over. You can just tip it back and sell it that your back's really giving you trouble. And she comes over, murmuring in French, and then when she hears you speak in English, "Oh, dude, what can I do to help you? How? Oh, you
get me on my damn chair. That's how you can help."
Excuse me.
There is no way this woman can pick you up. That's like asking a robin to pick up a bulldog. It's just, there's just not the mass there. I mean, she tilts your chair back upright and is sort of fluttering around and trying to help Dr. A. Jesse, give me the roll.
Yeah. 27.
Okay. Yeah. Neither of the two of you see when he does it. And I mean, you're looking for it, but there's just one second she's got a belt on, the next just empty loops. And so yeah, she sets the chair up, and I presume the two of you help get him in, and then she tells you some stuff about the natives of the plains, and yeah, you got her belt. Anything else you want to do with her?
Well, I put the belt behind my back and roll it up.
Yeah,
coil
it's
it up
hidden.
and I put it to my back pocket.
Yep.
Dr. A does not know that was a distraction, so he is going to stay pretty tight on K-Bar for the rest of this museum trip.
Okay, and the fact that you were ignorant of it and that your concern for your patient is so genuine sells it. Jesse's like, "Oh man, there's probably a part of you that's like, I'm never telling him the truth again."
It's more fun.
All right.
This way.
But you have found where the head is stored. It's out on the terrace. Anybody heading to the terrace? The GM said leadingly.
Yeah, Jesse wants to see this thing.
I saw in the Great Plains exhibit that the head is out on the terrace, and that's what you were interested in, right, Jesse? Was the head specifically?
Are you gonna say this right in front of the docent?
I don't think I'm canny enough to not.
And she's like, oh, yes, people love that head.
Jesse nods, not making eye contact for a second.
He's like, Doc, I've never known anybody with so many drugs who was so uncool. All right, and so the three of you are heading out. What about Conte and Farr? Where are you two headed? Are you going to stay in the area there, get some coffee? You see, someone else is getting coffee, and there's one of those school groups I mentioned. So there's just like a dozen snot-nosed, sixth graders running, yelling. They're yelling the kind of stuff that's really cute if you don't understand what they're saying, but to Cloissoné, like, oh man, middle schoolers are terrible. Nobody should say that to anyone ever. And you can see there's this woman sitting at one of the indoor stools, and she is just staring at these kids with such sadness and longing. And she's got, her purse in her lap and her coffee forgotten on the counter behind her. And she's kind of, she just looks lost.
Cloissoné, what do you think we should do, dear?
You're asking me.
Yeah, yes, you're a capable young woman, and you speak French, and why wouldn't I follow your lead?
Give me notice rolls, each of you.
Can I substitute my status for this? Is it a clothing-based thing or no? Cool. 29.
Okay.
85. No.
All right. So Cloissoné doesn't see the purse move, but Karen does. It just, the side of it just a little bit, like something in, and she's got both hands on the top of it. And so it's not her move. Maybe you just imagined it. Maybe she like pushed it and the side bulged out. But it looks almost like there's something in there that is moving independently.
Ooh. And is it like big enough for us? Like, what kind of creature would I imagine could fit in there? A small dog?
Squirrel, okay. Hamster, guinea pig.
So smaller than a dog, kitten,
yeah.
That size-ish kind of thing. Okay.
That is the second time I have snagged something with my headphone cord. I'm not doing great.
Cloissoné, that sad woman there, I think there's something alive in her purse. Do French people do that?
Is this even the third weirdest thing your mother's ever said to you that turned out to not be right?
No. I'll look over at the lady.
And she sees the two of you looking over at her and like blushes and turns back and slurps at her coffee. Gonna go talk to her? Not so much.
I'll go talk to her.
Okay.
Karen will go over too because Cloissoné is going on.
Oh, bonjour.
Did she sound like she speaks French, or did she sound like she's just saying it towards you?
She sounds like she's read the word once or twice.
Hi.
Oh, are you American?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I'm trying to fit in with the French here, and it is not going over well.
I'm sorry to hear that. My understanding is they can be a little bit prickly, right, Cloissoné?
I would say uptight.
Oh
no, everyone seemed pretty accepting. I mean, part of it is, American tourists coming in, spending their money. So, I mean, I never got to actual France, but I've heard people talk about how, they can be very, very snooty. But maybe that says more about the people telling the story than it says about their actual experiences. I'm Kelly, by the way. Hi.
Karen, pleased to meet you. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Like, sad bonjour.
Sad American
bonjour. Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
So, what brings you to Quebec?
Oh, I'm with a tour group. We got one of those group deals, and you know, and I'd never been to Quebec City, and I thought, hey, why don't I go to Quebec City?
And what do you think about the museum so far? We just arrived. We're just trying to get acclimated. There's so much wonderful culture here.
Oh yeah, I really liked the French colonial. I mean, I think that's a fascinating period in history. You know, a lot of sad stuff happening at sort of the intersection of cultures that didn't really understand each other. So there's, you know, it's kind of tragic, but it's also really interesting. And you can say, you're like, oh, I can see why the French did that, and I can see why the natives did that, and I can see why you know, the Americans did that, and the British, and just all the different factions that were swimming around this area at this time. It's you know, I learned some things. What about you?
Well, I'm actually just mostly interested in the convergence of the French and the native cultures in terms of their garments. So for me, that's really, if you track it, it's not a lens many people look through, but if you track it, you can find that subtly over time, the natives adopted part of the French garments, and the French adopted part of the native garments, but then even the specific things that they adopted were more based on the roles that they played in society, and their comparison between the, I'm sorry, am I boring you? I get very...
No, not at all. You know, good, that. And she seems to relax and kind of chill out. So yeah, the three of you sit there. You're going to talk about clothes for a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about clothes and try to get more of an idea about like the bag. And if Karen doesn't think she can, she's going to like kick Cloissoné under the table and be like, I really like the handbags that they use, right? Like this like, just kind of bad like subterfuge thing happening.
Okay, yeah. She's very you pick, it's not a great bag. It's, you know, it's a middle-class housewife's big purse.
Shouldn't be that important.
But she's very protective of it. You know, which may just be a middle-aged woman traveling abroad. You do notice that she has a wedding ring, but it is not on the left finger. It's on her right forefinger.
Does it look like a female's wedding ring or a male's wedding ring?
It is her female, her wedding ring. It looks, it's well, you know, it's a plain gold band, so it's not, it doesn't have a lot of gender signifiers attached to it. All right, the three of you see the head. And boy, yeah, your immediate thought, Jesse, is, wow, I'm not sure I can lift that. Because it is a boulder about 2 feet square, or 2 feet in diameter. So your estimate would be, let me find it in kilograms. Super heavy is the short version. Probably 275 kilograms, or, you know, if you got it across the border, 608 pounds. It's up on about a 4-foot tall plinth. But it doesn't have a camera on it. There's no camera on the terrace. The stuff out here is sort of public art, you know, the kind of thing that you'd walk by in a park. It's secured by the fact that this statue, the head is not very expensive. It's not even the, you know, there are 100 things with a higher resale value in the museum. So that's one reason it's not secured. There's a lot of more expensive stuff around. 2, it's awkward. You know, the way most museum heists happen is someone acts very quickly, razor blades something out of its frame, stuffs it in their clothes, and bolts. Or grabs a statuette, crams it down their pants, and, you know, gets the hell out. You can't do that with a 2-foot diameter, 600-pound stone head.
So I go over to the edge of the terrace.
Huh?
And I lean probably a little bit more than security likes over the edge. And I'm looking at
A little bit.
past the cliff. How's that support look? Jesse is thinking about that cool scene in Lethal Weapon where maybe we don't have to get this head. We can bring the head to us if we're waiting at the bottom of this cliff.
Oh. So you're looking at it. It's pretty firmly built, but yeah, you have tools that could cut through the bases. You would then have to dig up from underneath, and they've got probably a foot, so you would have to dig underneath, cut that out. There'd probably be a layer of pea gravel, then the turf, then you have to deal with the plinth, unless you made your undermining hole offset. Yeah, that'd be the way to do it. Once you got, and as you're thinking it through, you're like, yeah, you do about a 1 meter square cut underneath. You know, the pea gravel will all fall out once you remove that, and then you'll have the turf. And if you just dropped the head onto that, it would just fall right through, and all the, you know, it would tear through on its own with its own weight.
Mm-hmm.
But then you start thinking, the problem then is that it's going to fall onto this 80-degree slope. And unless you have something really strong there to catch it, it's just going to roll uncontrollably, bouncing off trees, and either break itself to pieces or wind up in someone's living room, or roll between two houses and knock over a car. The amount of force generated by 600 pounds falling 55 meters, you kind of wish you'd paid a little more attention in physics class, but you know it's a lot.
Yeah. So
getting it down the slope in a controlled fashion would be a challenge, but the advantage is you could do all this from the exterior.
Yeah.
So he's at the edge looking over, and the two of you are kind of checking out the head when a dude shows up and looks at the head and gasps. And
it's quite fascinating, isn't it?
And, you know, just comes up towards it and he's like, "My God, it's more glorious than I had ever dreamed, dared imagine." And yeah, he's got this beard and this, you know, smart leather coat with a sheepskin collar and an extremely flamboyant demeanor. He's like, he really does seem like he is performing for the crowd, but he is just staring at this and walking around it, and he's like, "Behold the noble visage of the guardian of civilization."
Oh, is it the exhibit inside mentioned some of the attendant myths, but they didn't spell them out in detail. Are you perhaps familiar with them?
Oh, I know a little. And he's like, "Count Volpo, at your service."
I had to let my cat out of my room.
Oh. He has introduced himself as Count Volpo and stuck his hand out for a shake.
Yes, Dr. Colbard. Pleasure.
Truly a delight, too. He's like, "No, I believe this represents a mythological bridging figure, a sort of interlocutor between the man of civilization and the invisible powers which constrain and guide him on all sides."
Are you perhaps speaking of the rhythm of cataclysm? Yes.
Yes, indeed. You seem to be a well-educated man, Doctor. Is that a doctor of anthropology, perhaps?
Medical doctor, but looking to change fields, I suppose.
Oh, there's so much wisdom in the ancient ways, yes. So much that has been discarded, forgotten, and lost, or else caged up in places like this where it is barely appreciated and incompletely understood.
Yes, I strive for complete understanding. Kavar, you will notice that Angel is getting into this in a way that normally is far too much of a square to get into something.
All right. Are the ladies doing anything more with Kelly, or are you gonna? What's your plan?
I'm ready to leave the lady because I don't see what Mom was talking about.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think Karen is totally going to follow Cloissoné when she decides to leave, unless something strange happens, right? She's just going to kind of move past it.
Yeah, Kelly kind of seems to have taken a shine to you, and as you get up to leave, she's just kind of casually walking along with you and continuing to talk about the clothing and how great the display of the furs from the fur trappers. And so yeah, you guys,
is she doing her best to endear herself? Like she needs a friend, she needs a buddy.
A little bit.
Okay.
Not too much. And then this other woman kind of flutters up from nowhere and says, "Oh, Kelly, there you are. Oh, and who's this? Who'd you meet?" And she's like, "Oh, hi, Chirp. This is, did you guys introduce yourselves with your true names?"
Mom did. I did not.
Okay. This is Karen and, what's the name Cloissoné always wished she had?
Chloe.
This is Chloe and Karen, and we've just the little woman's like, "Oh, those are such pretty names."
Oh, thanks.
So, fellow Americans up here, getting your culture on.
Yes. And while this kind of conversation starts, Karen is trying to get an understanding of the relationship between Chirp and Kelly. Because they're very different are they very different in age? Is that accurate?
Not very different, but okay. Chirp is younger.
Okay.
But they're not mother and daughter.
Gotcha. Thank you. I wasn't close.
Not unless Kelly was like 12. So probably a 12-year difference. That's the less gross way to say that. Okay.
I think that's fantastic. That doesn't feel bad at all. I think basically Karen's just going to start like small talking and, "Oh yes, I'm here with my daughter and we came to Quebec because, we're having a girls trip. It's so nice that we can."
Oh, that sounds just wonderful. And Chirp has this look of longing on her face, and then you hear this deep voice, "There you are." She kind of jumps and looks over her shoulder, and looming up around the corner is a very tall bearded man, bristling with gym-toned muscle and dripping with bad attitude. And she's like, "Oh, hi, honey. I was getting you a coffee." And he's like, "Yeah," takes it, starts running. He's like, "How many times have I told you about the sugar?" And she's like, "Well, I know, I thought that because of the jet lag, you might want." He's like, "No, sugar in the morning, black in the afternoon. How is this so difficult for you to keep in your pointy little head?"
So I'm going to act like I'm walking and trip into him and spill the coffee on him.
Okay. And he shoves you aside. And he's like, "What are you doing? What the hell is wrong with you? Are you drunk in the middle of the day?"
So Greg, Karen's going to go forward and she's going to kind of lean in and be like, "Sir, clearly it was an accident." I'm going to try to coerce him using status. Clearly that was an accident, but I mean, we're at this beautiful place. You're going to draw too much attention. And I mean, I understand you may not enjoy it here, but you wouldn't want to be kicked out. How will that look?
And okay.
Just trying to get him, I'm trying to shut him down with like kind of the pressure of being at a fancy museum.
And he looms up, crosses his arms, and Cloissoné, you've seen like the worst dudes at your school do this thing where they like put their hands behind their biceps to make a bulge more, and he's like pushing his pecs together to make an intimidating cleavage. As and guards are coming up. And yeah, they're not saying anything yet. And he's like, I would love.
I'm going to pretend to cry.
Okay. Give me a roll for that.
What do you want me to roll for that one?
Oh, that would be
lying, right?
Yes.
I can lie. 2.
Oh God, Karen, your daughter's crying. She's really upset. And the little woman is like begging. She's like, no, it's fine. We'll get some seltzer water on it, and it'll be fine, and everything will be okay. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to get upset. It's nothing. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. And he's like, I'm soaking in hot coffee. That's wrong. And yeah, this is when the guard rolls up. Monsieur, is there a problem? And he's like, I guess not. He's like, I'm just gonna go and wring the coffee with sugar out of my shirt. And he stomps off towards the bathroom with the tread of a petulant toddler. And Chirp, like, takes 2 steps out after him and then comes back and it's like, I'm so sorry, honey. He didn't hurt you, did he? You're okay, right? You're okay, right?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Dear, why don't we go? I saw a great T-shirt for him at the gift shop.
I'll get that. I'll take care of him. I'll take care of everything with him. You don't need to worry about it. It'll be, I'll just smooth it over. And, you know, at this point, Kelly is kind of plucking on your sleeve. She's like, yeah, let's move away from those two. They're on, and when you get a little farther away, she's like, they're on my tour group. Like her, hate him.
I
wonder why.
Are you okay, sweetie?
Who are you asking that to? Oh,
Cloissoné.
Cloissoné is just like, yeah, Mom, I'm fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, with what you rolled, it's up to you whether you want to have your mascara like running down your face or just fine.
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. You're so resilient.
All right, and Kelly, I should change this so that not everyone's name starts with K. Seems to want to go out on the terrace. She's like, let's get some fresh air and let the two of them do their thing that they do. And out on the terrace, you get there in time to see the head and to see Count Volpo and Dr. A just going back and forth, gabbing like teenagers. And Dr. Volpo's like, in fact, I feel that this particular artifact is of such crucial, pivotal importance. Please don't judge me.
Of course not.
All right. I'm going to perform a little ceremony, something to help me, in my own mind, refine the sense of meaning that I feel radiating off of this magnificent example of American reliquary. And
it must create a symbolic threshold.
And he pulls a little package of herbs out of his jacket and starts making a circle around the plinth. And ooh, nice. Of course, you know who'd be good at that. Yeah, Jesse, you see Karen show up. You gonna pass the belt off to her?
Yes.
So Karen's going to lead in, and she's going to say, I think which bathroom would it be, Greg?
It would be probably the one between the cafe and the bistro here. That was the way he stomped off.
Jesse, there's a bathroom in between the cafe and the bistro. There's going to be this horrible, beast of a man there, large and bearded. I believe he's going to discard a T-shirt in the trash. Maybe if you could go in and get it, I'd try not to encounter him. He's terrible.
Not a problem. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Already got you a belt.
Excellent. And she'll put it in like her, she has like, I imagine she has like a satchel, a beadwork satchel bag, right?
Okay.
That goes with her tribal kind of top thing. So.
All right. Yeah, Volpo is spreading these herbs, and then he starts unbuttoning his shirt and revealing this big, deep V of chest hair. And he gets down on all fours and is grunting and muttering and like snuffling through the grass. And at this point, the guards come up and are like, "Monsieur, are you quite all right?" He's like, "Never better, my good man."
He was just informing me of some cultural traditions related to the original creators of the stone. If you would be please so kind as to let me observe that it's really helping the authenticity of the museum, and I'm sure to when I review it on Yelp, I will of course make sure to emphasize your wonderful accommodations in this regard.
Oui.
Yes, very oui. Thank you.
And one of the other guards has just come up and like picks up some of the herbs and is like, and he leans into the other guy. French, oregano, French. Yeah. So Volpo is doing this thing and grunting in what sounds like old German. Kim, what are you doing? Just taking it all in?
Yeah, I mean, this is important to Dr. A. I don't get it necessarily, but I think it's important to learn from it. But eventually, it's just going to all kind of mesh, and I'm going to start looking at security systems and get more interested in it.
Out here is pretty unsecure. Now, keep in mind, you've seen this head before. Not in real reality.
Right.
But in, like, bigger reality. It's definitely the same head.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like a similar generalized idea of no, there are specific chips and pits and divots on the surface of the stone that you specifically remember from your state of heightened awareness. So yeah, it's the head. Okay, you're heading down the hallway, and this pretty little tiny woman is, jogging past you, clutching an XXL black museum t-shirt, and gets to the men's room, and she's like, honey, I got you something else to wear. And, he comes out bare-chested, and, throws the coffee-soaked shirt right in her face, snatches the other one out of her hand, and pulls it on. And you notice that his back is covered with scars. He looks like he fell down a flight of butcher knives. It's just a bunch of lines.
Okay, so a very chaotic mix to the scarring on his back.
Well, it's generally, you know what? Give me a notice roll.
Do that.
Because you only get a glimpse.
He may just turn invisible. I got it at 96.
Yeah. It's just a lot of marks.
Cool.
But they're not like surgical. Whatever made these was not operating in a controlled fashion. So could be an accident. You're not like the world's greatest knife fighter, but you knew some dudes who had survived more than one knife fight, and they all had the marks on the forearms.
Okay.
The defensive injuries. This isn't that, It doesn't look like something that would happen in a fight because, why would someone slice up your back in a fight when they could just stick you or reach around? And yeah, they're weird injuries. And yeah, the two of them kind of go off.
What did when he threw the shirt on her? What did she do with it?
She just, sort of took it and kind of silently composed herself, and she's like, I'll just go try and get this coffee out of it, and goes into the women's room with it.
I'll be like, I'm with the museum. I could try to clean it for you, miss.
And she looks you up and down and says, no, it's fine. I take care of him.
Well, the museum would like to take care of you today so you can enjoy your time here. You shouldn't be bathroom cleaning up.
No, it's fine. It's really, and she puts her hand on your arm and flutters her eyelashes at you and gives you the full dose of the big brown eyes, and it's like, no, I've got this taken care of. You're very sweet. Thank you so much. But I've got it. It's not a big deal. Everything's fine.
Okay.
Big smile.
I pat her hand and said, as you wish.
Okay. All right. So you guys saying anything more to Count Volpo?
I think Karen's going to use this opportunity to try to connect with whatever guard is not wearing a wedding ring.
Oh, you're going to flirt with it? Okay.
Yeah, so she assumes the guards are not going to just leave this guy to this thing, right? They're either going to try to stop it, or, right? So she's going to try to just kind of connect with them.
All right, so there's... All right, yeah. You can talk to a guard named Jerome, and are you going to ask him? Are you going to stop him from doing
No. I
this
mean, I think
stuff,
she leans in and she's like, I don't know if I want you to tell me that this is the weirdest or not the weirdest thing you've ever seen as part of your job.
It's like, oh, I don't always work the museum shift. It's like, yeah. There are some armed response jobs that have been very peculiar indeed.
Stranger than this?
What's he really doing? He's just saying some stuff, opening his shirt, spreading some weed around. It sounds like a first date to me.
Does it? It's very interesting to hear that. I must have been on some very boring dates. And she's going to just try to fleece him for like general museum information. How often do you work? What do you do at night? Like that sort of crap.
Oh yeah, you're asking, okay, where's a good place? So he recommends some bars. Yeah. Tells you that he had to do the night shift here for a while, but now is got the day, which he likes much better.
Yeah, and just asking like how boring the night shift is. Try to get an idea of how many guards there are at night, and just
real boring.
Okay.
And
no to talk.
Yeah. Oh no, the other guards are fine, but you turn into a day sleeper and everything gets a little weird, right?
I've never had the misfortune of having to do that, but I've heard.
Yeah, night work's not that great. You should avoid it if you can.
I will do my best.
All right. Anything else, you guys? Are you guys going to try and interact with anyone, interact with the scene anymore? I've got a kind of breakdown of the museum for Kim and Jesse when y'all get back to your Airbnb.
Yeah, I just had a question. Like, are there different wireless networks for security and the general public?
There's a public Wi-Fi that anyone can use that the museum supplies. There is their private intranet for the museum, but it seems like the security operates its own entirely separate, they're doing it through Intensecure, not through the museum. So that is somewhere else off-site, deliberately kept disentangled from the museum intranet. Give me a hacker roll. You're just sitting there with your laptop messing with stuff.
Yeah, I got a cock die. I'm gonna shift my little thing here. 71.
71,
so
but you can
definitely do not do well.
You can turn that into a 17, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. 17.
So, yeah, the museum's intranet, not that secure.
Okay.
You're gonna just, you're gonna brute force this, and you're like, yeah, in about 2 hours, I think I'll have the run of this.
And this is the staff Wi-Fi?
This is the staff intranet. You're going to guess it's email, scheduling, maybe payroll, but they probably have that a little tighter. This is, the conferencing stuff. So, you're looking at the cameras, you're like, there's no way that broadcasts a signal. There's no way they're stupid enough to have that be something that any doofus like me can hack in.
Okay.
And Greg, I think the only thing that Karen's doing right now for other people is just providing a distraction. She's distracting the guard if other people want to play off of that.
Okay.
That's so the people at the table.
So Dr. Colbert is just trying to run interference for Count Volvo, fully convinced that there's going to be sort of an end to the grunting in which greater purposes shall reveal themselves.
He winds up, sitting there kind of crouched on all fours, and and then he sighs and he stands up and he's like, exquisite communion with a line of civilization stretching back 3,000 years.
It's fascinating. No.
It is, isn't it? It's so rare to meet someone so non-judgmental.
Yes, well, I perhaps am also acquainted with liminal thresholds and the Garden of Crystal.
And he cocks his head at that.
And he's going to kind of lean in a little bit. And if you look to learn even greater, I would quite like to have your contact information, because there may be ways to explore even more facets.
I like the cut of your jib, sir. My card. And it just says Count Volpo, and it has a phone number under it.
Yep. And of course, I still have my card.
No first name.
Don't need it.
Okay, and so you're giving him the card with your real name and real contact data and all that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not telling him that I'm with anybody else or about the area. I'm waiting to get their permission. But
so you'll be hoisted on your own Colbard. Yeah. Ask Kim what OPSEC is sometime. All right. And so he promises to call you. He's like, perhaps we can get a drink later this evening.
Yes.
He's like, some of the people on my tour are pretty interesting, and some of them are not.
I suppose that for us to have our garbage taken out, there must be somebody who enjoys taking out the garbage.
You haven't spoken with many sanitation engineers about their jobs, have you? But no, civilization requires its upkeep. We must all do our part. And okay, so that's the museum. Y'all have seen it. Go back to the Airbnb. And let me give you the skinny on the museum's tech. So, cameras, closed circuit, battery backup. Can't be remotely hacked. The main doors and those out onto the terrace, tempered glass, probably barred at night. Jesse could cut or smash them with the tools he's got, but it would take some work, and attacking the front door would be obvious from the street. The emergency exits, there's three of them. Well, there's two emergency exits, and there's the door back to, it's labeled dumpster zone. So those are all steel doors with crash bars on the inside and theoretically no access from without. But the one into special expositions is a double door, and it was not correctly installed. Most people wouldn't know the difference, but Jesse, took a little look and went up and leaned against it, and he's like, oh, yep. They didn't use a dedicated strike plate. They used a generic strike plate. So there's a bolt gap. All I need is a big gulp cup to get past that dud bolt. The doors and windows all have magnetic locks. So when those open up, probably sounds some kind of alarm. But that is within either of your abilities to hack or spoof if you're there touching it or really close to it. Let's see. The glass panels over the terrace are wired. If they are cut or broken, again, some kind of alarm. But yeah, you get into, after a couple hours of making your computers grind at it, you are into their intranet. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, I guess, do I know can I find out anything about the contract with this security company?
Just that it's good for the next 2 years.
Do I know, like, can I find out how much they're paying so I can maybe deduce how many man hours there's going on?
Oh yeah, you can get into, you can sort of look at the negative space in the schedules and the budgets. It takes you a little while, but yeah, there's 3 guards there at night and 5 during the day, and they're staggered so that a guard leaves and another one comes in about every 3 or 4 hours. So presumably the idea is that way you don't have everyone leaving at once, so that there's a changing of the guard where things could get slippery, and also so that they're not all equally tired, that just as one is getting into the last 2 or 3 hours of his shift, someone else shows up who's fresh. All right. Who's got a plan to hijack this thing?
Do they have a list of the guards' phone numbers?
An idea.
Not really. That seems to be in the personnel files, which are stored non-accessible.
Could I have gotten... Oh, sorry.
What were you going to ask?
Could I have gotten the phone number of the guard I was flirting with, like his personal cell phone number?
It will count as using up. You got like 1 free roll from the Glad Rags thing, right?
Yep. I get to flip flop it.
Yeah, make that roll. Let's see.
Okay. So green first. I'll flip flop it, which gives me a 58 instead of an 85, which is a success, and a very high success, very close to 60.
Nice. Yeah. You just straight up asked him for his phone number, and he kind of gives you this knowing look back. American tourist ladies of a certain age.
That's right.
He's kind of like, let me guess, you are recently divorced, no?
Maybe you'll find out later.
Welcome to Quebec.
Thank you. So right, with that information, Karen, right, we're all together. She gets that information about all the data. She goes, all right, there's something that maybe we could do, but I don't know. We'd all have to work together. It's a little strange. Here's what we need to do. We need to convince that man to help us. But if we can convince that man to help us, then I can become that man, and then I'll help you.
Huh.
But you have to convince him. We have to convince him first.
Okay. How are you going to set about convincing Jerome?
So what the sequence of that looks like for like on the out-of-game level, right, is Karen goes and seduces him, puts on his shirt, uses her magic to figure out what his passions are, then leverages his passions against him, then him to at least, like, however we decide he wants to aid him, then we knock him unconscious and she puts on his clothes and then becomes him.
You might not even need to knock him unconscious.
Oh, sure. I mean, he might just be... But
there would just be 2 Jeromes running around.
Well, yeah, so ideally...
Well, the verb won't be knock, but unconsciousness is available.
But this all hinges on the fact that, like, and this she explains, the magics, I will become him. I will be him for a time, so he has to want to do this too.
Oh, okay. So he has to want to do it, not just be willing to do it. Because I feel like you do the latter a lot easier than the former.
Say again?
I could make him agree to help us probably a lot easier than I could make him want to agree to help us.
Oh. I mean, well, I mean, at a certain point, you can force him to want to help you?
No.
No, I could just put a knife to his neck.
Oh, that won't work.
Again, Jesse, are you going to pitch them your idea of cutting through the the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, I say I'm not sure we even have to go inside the museum at any point. If we go late enough, the guards may not even be out on the terrace. We might could cut underneath it. We just have to find a way to transport a 600-pound rock. And of course, it's on that cliff, so if it ever gets any momentum, it's gone.
Well, it's probably a lot easier to move a 600-pound rock down a cliff than up one, though.
Can we get a lot of rope? I know it sounds so simple, but I mean, fibers can be very strong when they work together, just like we can.
Okay, Cloissoné, give me an eye roll for that one. All right, yeah, you. All right, let's see. Give me a burglary roll there, Jesse.
Sure. I got a 64 out of 65.
Okay. You're like, it would be just like the Tampa job.
That's where I live.
Do at the Tampa job?
So yeah, you're like, yeah, you'd need a lot of ropes and straps and probably just some cheap, plyboard, and you could stair step it down. You would need to have personnel on the cliff. I mean, it's more a steep hill than a cliff. And so what you would do would be drop it down, have it stopped, catch it in some kind of net of straps or structure, then set up the next cushion,
Gotcha.
the next catch spot, release it from the first, it rolls or falls down into the second, and then just stage that down so that at no point is it free rolling.
I'll point to some of the residences at the bottom of the hill. If we could do a control drop on this thing and put it in between these two houses, there's a cut through on the driveway here. I think we could just get in there and get it.
Yeah, so you're checking that out on, Google Street View, and you're like, yeah, look at these two houses. There's a 6-foot strip between the houses, and there's no windows on the the two walls of the two houses. So you could try and guide it over there. You think it would work. It would take some effort. Now, the drawbacks to this plan, boring through the base of this is gonna be hard and very loud. But they may not notice that the noise is coming from there. And Quebec has construction going pretty much all the time, especially in the spring.
I'm not an expert on how strong this stuff is, but would that damage the head rolling down the cliff or hill?
Well, the idea is to make it a controlled roll, and you could probably wrap it in something that would protect it.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
And then, is it, just so I'm clear, there's a railing, right? So there's open space between the balcony and the air. Is that correct? There's no window there? It's just outdoors? Yeah. So would another possible thing be, if it could be slid over the edge, then we could use ropes and pulleys to get it off that way, and then we don't have to bore a hole through the floor.
Yeah, the problem.
I don't know, that's going to have its own complications.
It is.
That's going to be that the terrace goes out further from the cliff, so it's going to have a free fall for a moment. And I don't think any of us have the means to catch that thing the first moment it hits.
If you built the cradle for it between trees and could get it over the edge, the problem is going to be getting it off the plinth. That's not too bad. One person with a crowbar could do that.
Okay.
Lifting it up and putting it over the 4-foot wall, that's a team lift.
Sure.
If you're the Eddie Hall, the world's strongest man could probably do it, but none of you are. 2 of you might just be able to do it with some hard work. 3 of you wouldn't need to roll, especially if you got something strong enough that you could roll it. You could make a ramp and roll it up.
So and also
getting a ramp into the terrace is now hard.
We could use a stretcher too. We could make a stretcher. If you get like just a regular stretcher, the hold on those is pretty strong.
600 pounds? Okay.
Yeah, not all of them.
Yeah, but okay. So a high, high yield stretcher. I don't know what you'd call it.
Does this place have a loading dock with pallets and pallet jacks?
No. Apparently, they do the loading in through the emergency doors at special expositions, but they don't seem to have the equipment on site. Or if it is, it's in this area, which is locked up more securely, and none of you could get in. None of you went in there.
Also, what kind of vehicle do we have access to get this out of Quebec?
Kim's van can carry it.
Okay.
There's, it's got the space and it's heavy duty enough.
What?
Maybe the Outback. Maybe you don't want to drive it all the way back to Ohio in the Outback.
Well, if I could perhaps take us away from the material and logistic for just a moment. I haven't inquired too much of your motivations, but it's my understanding that we are trying to take this head because we were called. Yes, because it is the right thing to do to return it.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's someone else here.
Yeah, it's like that weirdo said. It's kind of just locked up in here.
Who also seems to have been called, is also likely to want to help us. I believe if we can speak to him when he is unconscious, we can hear perhaps what the head thinks we should do next.
Oh. Okay.
Oh my God.
And I pull up the Count's card and sort of...
Are you gonna call up the Count and see if he wants to go on a mystical voyage of Cipitol fueled discovery?
Yes, I was thinking, and well, I shouldn't be saying this, but if all else fails, it is consent is only optionally required for this to succeed.
Okay. Here, let me run down how Cipitol works for you. So what happens is you put the injection in. Mm-hmm. First, the person enters a highly suggestible hypnotic-like state. Mm-hmm. During this point, they'll babble like Dutch Schultz. If you ask them a question, they cannot lie to you. They might give you an answer that makes no sense except from their perspective. They might not follow the question. But in this state, they are unable to move. It is a mild paralytic. So they'll stay in that, answering questions in an unconsidered fashion for about 10 minutes, 15 or 20 maybe. After that, they enter the deeper Cipitol state. When they're in that state, that is when this other intelligence from another space and time can speak through their body to you.
Okay.
So you've never tried to, and that intelligence tells you its name is Cipitol. Mm-hmm. You've never tried to contact any other intelligences through people in the Cipitol state. Though maybe you could.
But Cipitol told me that we want the head, right?
You haven't really asked Cipitol about the head, have you?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. I there's a Cipitol agrees here, but I applied it to the wrong line. Oh. I read it wrong.
So, are you gonna talk before you make your heist plan? Are you gonna call the Count and see if he wants to take drugs with a complete stranger?
Karen, you talked to that guard for a bit.
Yes.
Get an idea of what the night shift looks like?
Yeah, it sounds like what Kim was able to find out is accurate. There's 3 of them on duty, fairly quiet, not much ever occurs there.
So I'm looking at this floor plan. We got all this great knockout drugs thanks to Dr. A. Got enough to share between the 3 guards. If we can roll this thing, just go out the front door with it. It's Canada. We don't have to come back here.
The problem with knocking someone out with drugs, so you've got, think of it as a continuum. On this end, you've got they're wide awake, and on this end, they're dead. What you want is the creamy middle where They go unconscious and then wake up without any permanent damage. And if your dose is too low, they may not go out. They may just get a little loopy or a little klutzy. And if your dose is too high, they may enter a permanent vegetative state, go into cardiac or respiratory arrest, a host of bad outcomes. Determining the right dose is not, it's an exact science. To do this, you need to know how tall they are, which you can easily, all you have to do is clock them next to, count how many bricks up the wall they are when they're standing next to it.
Yeah.
You need to know their weight, which can be tricky because...
But I'm good at that. I'm very good at guessing people's weight.
Which Jesse knows. And 3, whether they smoke or not. So yeah, if you want to put the guards into a safe unconscious state, Cipotal's not actually your go-to for that. But you can do it if you know those 3 things. So you would have to watch the guards for, a night or 2 and have Jesse make his estimations. And you would have to make sure that each guard got the right dose because they're not all the same height and weight. And if you give the heavy guy's dose to the light guy by accident, suddenly you've escalated from, burglary to first-degree murder.
Yes. Yep. I'm afraid I do insist on having control over the dosing situation exactly.
So Karen's gonna kind of go to her right. She has multiple suitcases.
Oh yeah, you got
more than you probably wanted in the car, right? In the back.
Yeah, the whole back was filled up, I'm sure.
So she comes over and she opens this tiny, like ancient cloth upholstered bag, and it's like a hat box shape, and she pulls it out and she goes, and there's always this. And she puts on this USS, this Russian army officer's hat. She's like, have you seen this before? No. Okay. It's really neat. I've only done it like twice. I can tell people what to do and they have to do it. They have to.
Well, they feel like they have to.
Sure. Well, she's not going to say that.
As far as Karen knows, they have to do it.
Only done it once or twice.
She's never seen anyone shake the effect off.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
So I can tell them what to do. I mean, I even think I could tell them, and is this correct, Greg, that she believes she could tell them to, you need to leave work now?
It has to be something that they can do, that they can immediately obey.
Okay.
They might leave work and then immediately come back.
Sure. So, if I said, you need to go take a crap in the bathroom. They'd go to the bathroom. They'd go and proceed to do the taking a crap thing, and then we could lock them in a bathroom.
Sure. Although the bathrooms don't lock from the outside.
We'll figure
for
it out.
some reason.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. I mean,
you could tell them, you have to drink this.
Oh,
Could you tell them they'd have to go to the bathroom and count all the tiles in the floor?
It probably would wear off before that.
So
it's more of a snap obedience thing.
But it's the more time they're given, the harder they fight.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to take a little break, refill my water glass, and mute my mic. When I come back, are you guys going to have a plan for me? Or do you think you need more information before you can get a plan? Because, you've described 3 or 4 different things that might work.
Yeah, I think we just got to settle on something.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I think Angel is... no matter what, I think he wants to try the drug thing because there might be a new idea, and that's kind of always appealing that there's a not... I think that in lieu of that, he's probably on team drill it out just because he really doesn't want to invoke the drugs if he doesn't have to.
I get that.
Okay, yeah. So let's see if the Count wants to go on a trip with Dr. A, and then do the drill plan as the main bulk of it. Is that what?
I mean, I think the only thing from my perspective is it seems to me, unless I'm misunderstanding it, that a pulley and dropping it over the side of the railing is way quieter than the drill plan.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I guess the cliff way would be the way to go. But yeah, maybe a pulley is better than a drill.
It just seems like, and if the pitch, right, if the pitch does go out, eventually the rock's going to hit trees. Like, it's not straight down fall forever. So we're adding a little bit more front end difficulty, but I would imagine the not getting caught goes up too.
Yeah, if we can avoid the guards, they're wild cards. So.
Yeah, and you could help with the guards, right, Karen?
Oh yeah, she could. I mean, you from her description, right? You believe she could wear the hat and then just tell them to like, you need to go to the bathroom right now, and they would run away.
So maybe Karen, Cloissoné, and I could go in to flip it over the side. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah.
Angels.
Not.
Kim, you've got the bulk for it, but I don't want to.
So Karen,
I have no getaway ability.
Yeah.
Karen takes out a fireman's overcoat, and she's like, "I can also get really strong."
Perfect.
When you look the part, you are the part.
And Angel's probably, like, just in terms of, like, the assembling a simple machine, Angel's got the book learning where that sort of check would be a little bit easier for him, I think. So I think you'd want to be on the ground team with K-Bar.
Makes sense.
I mean, could we make a harness to
Yeah.
put around the rock? And then
I could even use, like, a harness on some of the trees to use their strength to some degree to control the drop too.
It'd be pretty cheap to get like a lot of bubble wrap, probably.
Yeah, and he would have read. I mean, so in an emergency situation, you've got a bariatric patient, right? There's all sorts of jury rigs you have to do to get somebody out of their house.
And Karen has a high-powered, very sturdy sewing machine because she can do that. She brought a big giant.
One other thing.
Machine.
Dr. Colbert kind of says, from an OPSEC perspective, is there a better third location, or should we take the count here?
All right. Do you have a plan?
Almost.
Yeah, we're definitely going with the use a pulley to drop the head over the edge. It sounds like.
All right. So you're gonna get it over the edge and then drop it.
Yeah, Karen's going to show up in a fireman's outfit for some extra muscle, and then Cloissoné and I are going to be the second and third on that to get it over.
And
okay.
I think that the debate right now is whether it's worth the risk of bringing the Count into the Airbnb to see if potentially he has more knowledge, which obviously Angel advocates for, but it's,
well,
it's
you
4
could talk
to 1.
to. You could put one of these people in the Cipatal state and ask them.
That's true. He feels, rightly or wrongly, as the discretion of the GM. He feels like as somebody who is clearly drawn in a way that these more mercenary people, without such intellectual aspersions to see and liberate the head, may perhaps not have as much resonance in the great psychological ether. But he would also be willing to put one of them down if they say, I don't want the Count to know where we are, but I would go down. That's sort of his hierarchy of preferability.
If we don't trust the Count, I am willing to go down.
Is that entirely wise, Kim?
Oh, would it be a? Yeah, I guess that would be a.
It's very hard for you to want to take drugs.
Yeah,
it's like a hole in your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. A, there doesn't need to necessarily be a reason why he has to come here. You can throw a little money at a hotel and meet there.
Ah, yes, this is the OPSEC I've heard so much about. Yes, of course, I can certainly scrounge on. Then why don't? Yes, you can do what is it? Casing the joint. Yes.
All right, so you're planning out how to do this. Is Karen gonna go seduce this guard?
I don't think that's currently part of our plan.
All right, and
is that correct? In saying that, I don't think it was part of it.
All right, so does Dr. Colbard want to pick up the phone? Mm-hmm. All right, and how are you gonna present this to Volpo?
Yeah, so essentially what I'll kind of say is, well, you're talking about these traditions, anchored in thousands of years of histories, and of course one are drug-induced meditative trances. It's something I actually know quite about as a doctor, and I believe I may be able to put you into such a trance. And now that you have communed with the history, perhaps you can hear it spoken through your own lips. And I would, of course, provide you a recording of what you say, which I would record his first half.
That would be like a dream, if you're sure. It's
and not a second half.
Would you mind if a friend of mine or two was present, just in the interests of, safety?
Well, are they perhaps,
they're cool,
intellectual?
They won't make any problems, I assure you.
It's a bad idea, but on the spot he'll agree with it because he feels too awkward to say no.
Okay, so he tells you what hotel he's in and says, "Yeah, come on up. Come on up and get me high."
Yes, and I sort of, hello, I'm Dr.
Only classy. Like if Fraser Crane was saying, "Come on up and get me high." I want to see cool colors and shit. All right. Yes. Are you setting out right away?
Yep. I think, very level. Just thank you so much for advancing knowledge, and I'm glad that your friends will be here to help relay to you what you say, and I want to come into this and not bias you in any way, so that what you hear is as unbiased and the pure truth as possible.
Okay. So when you get to his hotel room, he's waiting for you in the lobby and takes you up to his room, and waiting inside is a very nervous-looking middle-aged woman with a large purse. You haven't seen Kelly before, but it's Kelly. And also sitting in his room, not looking particularly comfortable, is Mara. Remember who Mara is?
Is it the darkness?
No, Mara's the person who put you on the head in the first place.
Oh.
Yeah, Mara's the one who fixed Kim. Mara's the one that Jesse owes money to. Mara's the one that has done this ceremony with Karen. And so when she sees you, she's like, "Hello, doctor."
So would I know Mara?
Yeah. You've been very impressed with Mara. I mean, the stuff she was able to do with Kim's drug dependence is beyond the reach of science.
Yeah, I mean, basically just cured me of my pill addiction.
Yeah, it was like turning a switch. Monday, he is a raging, full-on, throw the gravy boat at grandma drug addict. Tuesday, he goes off into the New Mexico wilderness with this yerbero. Wednesday, he has no desire to take pills.
Okay.
It's crazy, and you've seen her do it more than once.
Okay, so Mara's not in my story, so just I needed that.
Oh, isn't she?
Nope.
I'm really surprised by that. Okay. I could have sworn I wrote that in. I put her in your write-up.
But I do.
Okay, yeah, so you know her.
Okay.
But she lives in New Mexico, not Quebec.
Okay, so do I know that Mara has a connection to the head? Or
Yes.
Is that something they know?
She, yeah, it might be just something they know. But yeah, Mara was one of the ones who put you onto the head, and the whole thing that, 2003 was when everything started going wrong.
Oh, that's the thing that Cipotal agreed with. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And, when she comes in, she's like, gives you this look and does something with her eyebrows and her head tilt and all kinds of facial expressions. So give me a notice roll to pick up what she is trying to non-verbally put down.
That'll be a 19, boss.
Okay, yeah. She does not want you to let Volpo know that the two of you have met before.
Okay.
So her eyebrows are saying, be cool, dude. Just play it off light and frosty.
Yeah. Hello. It's so good of you to be here. And he'll turn to Karen. And your name is?
It's Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
And she's like, "Hi, I'm Kelly Grilsch.
I'm Dr. Colbard, and turn to Mara, and you are?
My name is Mara.
Hello, Mara.
It's pleased to meet you. I also have some experience with substance-mediated mystical journeys.
I'm glad to hear that.
My friend the Count has asked me to be present, and Kelly as well, to just oversee. He's like, yes, I fancy myself quite the psychonaut, but I also understand that it's important to rely upon one. The lone wolf is a myth. It's all about the pack. And he starts undressing.
But that won't be quite whatever makes you comfortable. Whatever makes you comfortable.
I'm glad you understand. Nudity taboos are terribly constraining.
Yeah.
And he, under his clothes, you can see he has this horrible matted fur like wrapped around his waist. It's like...
So a hair shirt.
No, you don't think so. It's not there to like be... you don't know. It looks like a really gross fur stole. And he, sets that under his head and lies back and he's like, send me aloft.
Okay, and I will, inject it. I'll sanitize all the doctor stuff.
Yeah, do all the doctor shit. I don't think you need to roll for this because I cannot think of anything that would be more entertaining than you succeeding. So as he gets, are you going to ask him anything when he's in the dopey honesty stage?
Well, and the first thing he's going to kind of turn to, because now that he knows that Mara's here, he kind of wants Kelly out if possible so he can not need to, he can give the straight dope about the head. So this kind of quickly mention, of course, if this ever makes you uncomfortable to watch, those, that fear and trepidation could spill over into him in this suggestible state. So you can perfectly trust us to be responsible about this.
And Kelly's like, oh, maybe I should leave then. I really am not really comfortable with contacting dark forces this way. And Mara's like, it's okay, Kelly. And in fact, Dr. Coulbard and I have worked together previously. And, Volpo's like, what? What a small world it is. That's interesting. And she's like, well, so, Volpo, what are your plans for the head anyway? And he's like, oh, well, once the other crew steals it, we were going to take it from them and take it back down to help the Comte de Saint-Germain recover lost memories. Doc, you seem cool, Doc. I hope we don't have to fuck your shit up. And Kelly's like, wait, what? I thought that we were here to stop them from stealing the head. And Mara's like, yeah, that's kind of a thing. I'm not sure at this point, Doc, whether you should go through with the plan. And Volpo's like, but that's how, none of us can steal that thing. We need them to take it for us, don't we? And she's like, well, maybe Count, he's not going to remember this any, right?
No, we...
oh, thank God.
We have the option to distribute the information as we see fit. And hearing that mention of fuck this shit up, Doc's going to try to take this phone and sort of surreptitiously open up like a call with somebody else in the cabal so that they can be hearing this shit the way that he suddenly realizes that a more OPSEC-y person might have plans to do in advance.
Yeah, Kim, you got a call on one of your burners?
Yeah, I'll put it on speaker.
Yeah, and I don't say anything. I mute the phone instantly. And I just leave the open line.
As soon as I realize I'm listening to someone else's conversation, I'll mime to everyone in the room not to speak.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so Kim, your phone's muted, but you all can hear what Volpo's saying. And Mara's like, Volpo, would you be willing to hurt people to get the head? And he's like, oh, yeah, I mean, frankly... that'd be pretty cool. I haven't gotten to be a monster for a while. I think Man-Steel would be down with it too, and I honestly feel that it would go a long way towards kind of remedying the rift between us. It would be, it would be good to have that in common with him. I think it could be a point of bonding if, he and I committed some act of violence and, maybe drank the blood together afterwards.
Very properly primal.
Yeah. I'm seeing those. Hello, Doctor. And now, and you can tell he's shifted into the Sepatal intelligence. Doctor, is that you?
Yes, this is me. Different venue than our usual, I'm afraid, but perhaps more comfortable.
What is happening?
Well, I remember you have agreed that the world changed March 3rd, 2003, right? That was a very precise date.
As you number it, yes.
Yes.
It's a different... Time was different when I was real.
Yes, well, there is a stone head that many believe to be connected with this juncture of worlds.
A decapitated power, I can see it.
Decapitated power, yes, that's exactly. And we are looking to recapitate it.
If you roll the stone away, the memories will flow.
Excellent. This is, and I was wondering if perhaps you could commune with the power. I assume it seeks its recapitation.
Oh, I dare not. It is too great and powerful for me. When I was real, the Countess Dyer would visit the Mender of Destinies. We would summon her every 100 years for awesome and terrible rites. This may be her in a new form, a strange form. Who will read her memories when the head is restored? Answer that.
That's the answer I wish to discover, above all else. But perhaps looking for advice of a more practical nature. The forces of bureaucracy, feeble though they are, do seem to present a significant barrier to us at present.
I don't know how to help you with that.
That was... Well...
What is 618835?
What was that?
What is 618835? And when she says that, Mara just goes white as a sheet.
Mara, I'll leave this one to you.
Where did you hear that number? And she's like, what? Why is that real? Why do you have the thing that eats love? Why do you have the love annihilator in a yam? And Mara's like, I didn't know where else to put it. And she kind of looks at you eyes wide, and it's like, and Kelly's like, the what annihilator? And then Kelly comes forward and opens her purse and pulls out this purple stuffed rabbit. And it looks kind of mangy and dingy, like it had been discarded by the side of the road and someone picked it up and cleaned it, but wasn't able to fully restore it. And she's like, can you tell me how to kill this? And Count Volpo's body says, I don't know what you are referring to. And Kelly just kind of, shrinks back and stuffs it angrily back into her purse. And Mara puts a consoling hand on her arm and looks over at you and kind of shrugs. And Sepatal's like, what else do you need to ask about, Doctor?
Are you scared of what would happen if the recapitation would occur?
I'm beyond all pain and strife. The persons who would be scared would be you. Something powerful would happen with that head. It's right now imbalanced. It's out of place. It's a key. You're going to put it into a lock and turn it and open a door. But what's behind that door has not yet been determined. It depends on who opens it. It is beyond your concepts of good and evil.
Do you know what sort of things are waiting behind doors opened by what sorts of people?
It would be memories of old dead worlds. It would be places older than my crystal caves. This knowledge is deeply sought in your world. I don't know what effects it would have.
And these notes are being scrawled in illegible doctor shorthand, crystal cave, like he's ordering it as a prescription. And he's... Is there sort of like a social feel of a give and take between Cipital? Do I try to not impose?
Not really.
Or is it just like an alien
When
oracle?
Cipital's ready to go, she'll tell you. Oh, by the way, Cipital only uses female pronouns almost all the time. Seems to assume everyone she meets is a woman.
Okay. Well, yes, memories of loss and that, but you don't.
I think the time has come for me to no longer be real.
Yes, you've been quite helpful, thank you.
There's something wrong with this body I'm in. I don't understand it. There's something hungry and without sense in it.
Something hungry and without... Like a cancer? Is it in the sort of doctor mode, sort of? Is it... Please, before you go, can you tell me perhaps how to treat it and put him back into a sort of balance?
This is what she's chosen.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to send a text message on this burner phone to Dr. A, telling him to turn the volume way up and hide this phone somewhere on the Count's person or in clothing.
Okay.
Yeah, Kim doesn't know that hiding something in the Count's clothing may not work.
Yes.
You could maybe put it in the room.
He'll text it and be like, that does feel OPSEC, but that doesn't. He'll maybe look and see if he could like leave it under the bed or something, but...
Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, you can... Okay, give me a secrecy roll to hide that phone.
Yeah.
Are you concealing from Kelly and Mara the fact that you're hiding the phone?
I think what I'm going to do, rather than under the bed, is just as I'm sort of, wiping him down, I'm going to just see if I can put it under the pillow to kind of make it look like a mistake, and if they say you dropped your phone, I'll steal. So just trying to leave it like under the pillow in a way that, I was treating you and I messed up. Well, the first digit's a 0, so I don't think I need to roll the second, but 7.
Okay. Yeah, you get it. You have it under the bed with the gain turned way back, and you've kicked it into the dark. So it's probably good for 3 or 4 more hours of active broadcast. And okay, yeah, he comes out feeling great, wants to hear the recording right away.
Sorry, the post processing. There's always so much ambient noise. I'm afraid I'll have to clean it up first, but I'll make sure to send it to you on the number specified.
Give me a lie roll.
Uh-oh. That's 42. That is a failure.
And his nostrils flare, and he's like, "Do not trifle with me, Doctor. Give me the record. I must insist on the recording now."
Yeah, I don't think my passions come up in this one.
And yeah, Mara and Kelly are kind of like, "Hey, Count, no, be cool. You're still kind of a little loopy." And Mara's like behind her back giving you the get out signal with her hand.
Yes.
What do you do?
You just kind of like... I guess I'm gonna have to go for sort of like the coercive, like, I'm sorry, I understand that you're very curious, and that curiosity is why I thought you could take this trip. But at some point, it must come time for the professionals to control the situation before the information is fully revealed. You will have to trust me. I am an expert at this. That is what I have studied. I'm going to give you the fruits of my study.
Okay. Yeah, give me a connect roll to back him off.
All right.
Actually, well, it should probably be lie, but I'll let you get away with connect.
Okay, that's a 47, which is a... Where is my connect?
It should be...
It is, barely a fail. That's not good. 45.
You've never seen anyone lunge up, go from Cipital trance to fully freaking out and attacking like that. Usually people are pretty laid back, mellow, need a little help getting their pants on back front to front. But he just lunges off the bed and is coming at you with everything he's got. What do you do?
Fucking gun it, I guess.
So you're running. Okay, give me a pursuit.
And you guys heard the yelling.
Yeah, can we surmise that he's being attacked?
Yeah, but, you know, he's
Far
a mile away.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
The first one is a 41, which is a failure.
Okay, so you're backing up, you know, stuffing stuff in your bag. He lunges out of the bed, grabs you by your stomach flab, and bites right through your panis. You know, Dr. A's not that fat, but, you know, everyone's got a little love handle there. You're not loving being handled like this. Yeah, he drew blood.
Okay.
How many hardened notches in violence do you have?
The good news is I have 4, because that's the reason I failed to connect.
Okay, yeah. So this is the first time you've been bitten, but it's not the first time you've had a patient freak out and do something untoward. It's by far the most horrendous one.
So do we know where you went? You would have
Yes.
told us. So Jesse is bolting out of our Airbnb, and he's going to lift the first car he can.
Well, you don't need to lift a car. You've got cars.
Oh, I thought we were all in a van.
You've got the van, you've got the Outback. You've probably got, well, Dr. A probably took his own car. Give me another pursuit, Doctor.
Karen's like, Kim, what do we do?
Okay, that's a success.
Okay.
22.
He, oh my God, it hurts so much when he pulls it loose. Mara, like, tries to grab him, and he just bats her back like she's a rag doll. Kelly pulls the rabbit out of her purse, says, "Don't make me use it!" And he turns and snarls at her, and that's when you're out the door. You are, to the stairway. You're pounding down it. You've got blood, trickling out. And you see, looking back over your shoulder, you see him come out of the room, still naked, except for his little fur rag. And he, drops into this crouch and is trying to come down the hallway. But, he stumbles and slides a little bit, and you're like, oh, that's that Cipetal nervous system depression. Thank you. So you slam the door. You're out of there.
Mm-hmm. And I assume I recognize Jesse's car by now.
You've got your car there. You don't know Jesse's coming.
That's right. Yeah. And then I get in my car and I drive not immediately to the Airbnb.
Yeah. So you just get the hell out of there. Jesse, you show up in front of this hotel, but you don't know what room this is going on in. There does seem to be some kind of commotion occurring in there.
So at one point he mentioned the name Mara, and I owe this woman money, so I was asking if I would know her over by her voice alone.
It did sound like the woman you know. Are you gonna call the gang at some point, or did you leave your only phone there, Doctor?
And if it's okay, Greg, I think Karen would have jumped in the car with
Sure.
Jesse. Just
Cloissoné, you going? Kim?
If Mom goes, I go.
Yeah, I've got to go. That way I keep the phone on speaker and we can hear what's going on.
seems important enough at least to leave them.
Okay. Did Dr. Coolbard... He only had one phone.
Given me a burner phone, I would have a burner phone in the glove compartment. If he didn't, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I have enough burner phones for everybody, but I don't know. I didn't say I passed them out. I don't know if I...
Yeah, give me what roll would this be? Give me a secrecy roll. If you succeed at a secrecy roll, Doctor, you had the forethought to have a burner ready. Otherwise, you've left your own personal phone on.
Yeah, well, it's definitely my personal, just whether I have a burner, and I rolled a 70, so I do not.
Okay, so you've got no contact.
Nope.
Yeah, the four of you roll up at the hotel. And
I tell him, I say, I think there's someone in that room that I know named Mara.
You know Mara?
You know Mara?
Mara's great.
I know a Mara.
you know that the Mara you know is Jesse's Mara. You probably all know it's the same Mara.
Okay.
I mean, she kind of put you guys together. Yeah, Cloissoné is the only one who doesn't have a Mara connection.
So there's a woman speaking. I thought it was Mara. Then Dr. A literally said Mara.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounded like her.
And over the phone, you can hear bickering. It's pretty indistinct, but yeah, Count Volpo's got a raised voice, and Mara and Kelly seem to be trying to calm him down. And yeah, you're mostly getting vocal tones, but you hear the door close. You don't hear the doctor anymore, so either he's unconscious, but it sounded like he got out. And you hear bed springs creak as if someone has sat on the bed, which the phone is under. And yeah, so it's just the three voices, and they're getting calmer. You can make out bits about, no, we're not going to, he's not look, he shouldn't have, we got to clean up yeah, that kind of thing.
We don't see the doctor's car in this hotel lot, right?
Nope. So
Yeah.
Dr. A, where are you going? Gonna find a Rite Aid?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of just find any sort of parking lot that's busy enough that I can park and have a car between me and the road. So if they saw my car leave, they wouldn't see it in the parking lot.
Yeah. Oh man, you're bleeding fairly freely out of your belly.
Yes.
But it hurts like a motherfucker. But you can tell that this is not he got through the skin, got into the fat layer, but didn't damage the muscles. Didn't get through it to anything life-threatening. The problem is going to be, this is an immense infection risk.
Yes.
So you're going to be like cleaning it and yeah.
And this is my car, so I have like a car first aid kit.
Oh yeah.
With which to perform medicine upon myself.
Yeah. Give me that doctor roll.
Yes. Finally, something I'm good at rolling. Yeah, there we go. That's a 3, then I'm going to flip-flop to a 30 for...
Okay, yeah. Yeah, one thing you're really good at is pain relief. And with this, it's like once you get it cleaned out, it's going to be, butterfly bandages, Band-Aids, gauze, tape. It's not... Yeah, it ain't brain surgery, baby. It's just patching it up, and boy, it hurts, and it hurts when you move, and when you turn, and the momentum of the car pulls you over, that hurts. Everything hurts. That anything that you do to keep your balance using your core is gonna hurt for a while. Where are you going?
Then I'm just gonna go back to the Airbnb, but just circuitously a little bit. I think at this point, if someone was following me, I would have lost them sitting in the parking lot.
Unless there was some mystical way to trace someone. But for that, you'd probably need, I don't know, their blood or something.
Yeah. What are the odds?
What are the odds?
Or probably my business card. That'd be pretty dangerous, too.
So we're all sitting, like, in the car?
Outside the hotel, listening to the broken up bickering between Kelly, Volpo, and Mara.
What he was attacked. What do you think happened?
I have no idea. That guy sounded absolutely off his rocker.
Was that Volpo? That Count guy?
Yeah.
Should we reach out to Mara?
I mean, do you want to kick some crazy druggie's ass tonight? Because, I'm in, but it seems like that's the only way we're going to talk to Mara.
No. Not one of us, all of us know her. Not one of us got her number.
You've got her number.
I just raised my phone. I could call her.
Yeah, use one of these.
I'm gonna take the burner from him and look at my phone, put in her number, and you want to sit here right? You want me to sit here right now while I make the call, or you want me to get out of
here? Let's try back to the Airbnb. I mean, that's got to be where Doc's going, so he might need help.
Cool. All right. And I'll call Mara while I'm driving back.
What kind of soothing beverage does Dr. A have when they get back? Presumably non-alcoholic, because, you know, you gave yourself a little... You got to be real careful about self-prescription, but you're like, no, this pain... Yeah, Daddy needs his medicine.
Just like a seltzer water. Just enough.
Okay. So, yeah, you get in, and you've probably changed shirts. And so, yeah, you get in there, and there's the doc sitting at the table, superficially calm until he lifts his seltzer water, and you can see his hands kind of shaking.
Oh, we sure did learn a lot, didn't we?
Apparently, physician can heal thyself.
So glad to see you.
Yes, that was... usually, Cipital, they're not... It's usually not such an aggressive awakening. I miscalculated. But
what happened?
Well, so Mara was there, which I did not expect, and so I realized. I'm sorry. I thought I would just take a recording, but then he mentioned something about hurting. It sounded like he and somebody named Mansteel had some sort of plans to potentially injure us. They mentioned a separate group was to steal it, and we were to steal from them.
We heard the name Mansteel, right? I think
we don't know who Oh, okay. Wait, no, yeah. The Chirp
called him, I believe, Mansteel.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
Yes, and so when I heard that, that's when I figured I would do the call.
Wait, we know this Mansteel guy?
He was that guy that you had to get the T-shirt from with that lovely young woman Chirp. She was so wound up in him. And they were friends with Karen as well.
I spilled coffee on him.
Shirtless, the guy's got scars all over his back. Looks like he got in a fight with every knife ever.
Oh. What? Wait, Karen was there? Put it together.
Kelly.
Kelly. Oh, I'm sorry. Kelly was there? I'm Karen. What's happening? I'm very upset.
Did someone duplicate me? I was going to duplicate someone else.
Magic is strange and mysterious. Kelly was there?
Maybe in the future I time travel?
What? Anything's possible. So Kelly was there?
Yes.
Doctor? Why was she there? What? All right.
I didn't... Do you know a Kelly? I didn't know a Kelly.
We met her.
Okay. Well.
She had something in a bag.
Yeah, it was the end of love she had in that bag.
You hear that? It was the end of love in a bag. What's the end of love?
The end of love.
Something. So my recall is not perhaps what it normally would be if I was taking, for example, the GRE. It is perhaps slightly muddled. I was bitten. I was bitten by a man. And at worst off, I was bitten by a hipster.
You all right?
Hipster?
The count was... I don't know.
He probably still had artisanal sausage stuck between his molars.
I don't know what subculture wears a hair shirt, but not... Listen, the point is, Mara seemed to perhaps be aware of their plan. She seemed to want to talk him out of his plans of violence with Mansteel, but I don't know if that was just for my ears. And I sure hope that you record on your burner phones, because I don't have the recording. You told me to drop it. I believed you in your OPSEC, but it does mean... Oh, God, it also means I can't give him the recording later if he asks.
Yeah, don't talk to him ever again. That's the solution.
Well, he only has my phone number, and that phone is in his hotel room, so...
Well, that was your actual
God, he's gonna try and call you, and he's gonna hear the chime under his bed.
No, I did mute when I was, putting them on, so there wouldn't be a
so it'd just be vibrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing you learn in kindergarten is nobody likes a biter.
Yes.
So, why are they here?
So listen, in the first stage of Cipital, they become perhaps suggestive. They don't have the mental faculties capable outright deceit. They're not necessarily telling the truth either, but I don't think it was a wholesale conjuration, that his plan was to take the head from us.
Okay.
And I go outside to call Mara, because that just pissed me off.
Okay. Hello?
You're going to get my ass killed over 2K?
Oh, hello, Jesse. No, that was never my plan. My plan was never for anyone to get hurt. And what I hope to tell the doctor is that maybe you should ease up on your plans to do the thing that you came up here north to do.
I don't do the thing I came up here to do, then our debt's not square.
Oh, it's square. You've more than... I feel that I have given you more than your money's worth in trouble. So don't fret on that account. We're done. Is the doctor okay?
Yeah, it looks like somebody took a bite out of it.
Yeah. Someone did take a bite out of him. I did not believe that the Count was capable of that. You have to believe I would not have put Dr. Angel in jeopardy by choice.
Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., there's a diner off a street called Chestnut. Be there.
Yeah. Okay.
And I hang up and go inside and tell them, Mara, 9:30 in the morning, we're going to get some more answers out of this second group that hurt the doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. Good call.
Man steal? All right.
I'll just kind of look pleadingly at Jesse. Should I be there?
I mean, diners really gross you out. You don't have to be.
You get poutine, though. They serve it 24 hours.
I think I need to know more than I'm scared. I need to know more than I'm scared.
We can do what you did, the old phone trick. Keep it open. Only I'll probably keep you on the table so she knows that, the whole group is kind of pissed at her at the moment. Or maybe it's just me, but I'm kind of pissed at her at the moment.
I'm going to quick open up a little physician's reference. I believe I'll be pissed in approximately 90 minutes when certain chemical concentrations reduce themselves. Right now, I think I'm just tired.
All right. You guys doing anything else, or have you had enough for the night?
I think Karen is going to just talk to Cloissoné. Like, sweetie, what do you think we should do? It's like this private little moment. What should we do?
You're the one who got us into this.
I know. That's why I feel so bad.
What is this about?
Well, at first we were just going to steal a big stone head, and that made some sense. But now there's a biter, and that terrible man, and the woman with the bag and the eater of love, and I'm a bit out of my depth, I have to admit.
No kidding.
So what should we do? I care more about you than this whole entire situation.
You made it sound like it was the end of the world to get this thing.
Felt like it was? But I'm so passionate.
Never think anything through.
Ooh.
You're right.
Well, I mean, we're going to find out about these other people if they're going to try to steal it from us.
Okay. That makes sense. Good night. And Karen rolls over in the bed that they're probably sharing because they're at a hotel, and I assume that happens, right? In bed and breakfast. And Karen gently cries herself to sleep. And every time Cloissoné notices, she tries to stop. Right? Every time muscles, tears stop.
All right. When was the last time that happened in your D&D game? Okay.
And as we're going to bed, Dr. Colborne will kind of look at K-Bar quick and say, it's really good to not do drugs.
Yeah, you think?
I go over to Kim and say, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
if you could have got out of the service the day before this happened to you, would you? If Uncle Sam was going to say, no fault, get out of here, kid. Or would you feel like you owed some promise?
Do I owe Uncle Sam? No. No. But I don't know. My life's a lot different now than it was then. I don't know if it's all for the worse.
Don't get me wrong.
If I stayed, it wouldn't be for a promise. It would just be to see things through. I don't know. Why?
I could walk away from this and be clean. I can't. I'm doing this because of Mara, and I just let her know that that debt I owed her is square. But I'm also not going to leave you flat out, just spinning your wheels. I smile at him kind of like a dick.
Perfect metaphor.
You tell me to stick with you, Kim. I stay all in. But
I don't know. It feels like the right thing to do. I don't know what to do with it when we get it, but it feels like the right thing to do is to get it. But I don't know. It's like it's like the crazy murderer said that it's trapped and it needs to be set free. And now I'm just agreeing with the crazy guy who bit Doc A. So I don't know. I don't know really that I don't know how to contribute to the advice pool.
All right.
I do love lifting hoodoo shit, so I guess I'm going to stick with you.
Karen's got a good guy for this.
Next morning, who's going to the restaurant to talk to Mara?
Yeah, I'll definitely go.
Okay. Dr. A, Karen?
I think Karen will go because Cloissoné is going.
All right. And
I
Dr. A?
I think if they left the phone line open, that is what Dr. A would pursue. To listen.
Oh, you're going to be listening. That phone, yeah, by the time, you listen to it, excuse me, and hear, you hear, oh yeah, because you left your phone there. You hear one side of a conversation that Volpo has with, you don't know who he's talking to, but he's saying something about how he thinks the others, I think something about how the sleepers may be getting cold feet. And, here's. Don't underestimate them. Don't underestimate how dangerous Kelly is. Especially don't underestimate what the darkness can do at night.
Oh, the darkness. Yeah, and he'll relay this to the group. He would have just been sitting up all night listening to the burner phone in his recliner because he ain't sleeping.
You probably would have fallen asleep at some point there. Once the adrenaline crash sets in, you're like, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. When you wake up in the morning, in addition, so you've got the square of gauze, and you're changing that, and you can see that there's 10 bruises from his fingers. It's just nasty. It's a lot of nasty. Yeah. But not, by far, not the worst injury you've ever seen. Not even the worst injury you've ever seen one human inflict on another. But it's the worst bite. It's the worst human bite you've ever seen, though.
Okay.
So you're staying behind while the other 4 go meet Mara?
But asking them to, have a new burner phone open so I could hear and I could unmute myself if I wanted to, but I want that element of remove in case the biter is there.
And I think that Karen, right, does her ritual of, the glad rags thing. And she looks kind of like Janet Jackson looked in some of her more paramilitary music videos.
Okay.
So she can also be wearing the Russian soldier's hat. That's how she arms herself, right? Okay. So she's got a uniform.
Something with epaulets.
Yeah, epaulets, a soldier's hat. She also has her shawl on over her clothes because she's going to war. And this is how one goes to war when you're a Vestamancer. You have to get a lot of clothes on.
All right.
You go to a diner.
Boy, it's hot. Mara is sitting there with Kelly and the darkness. And, when you come in, Mara's like, I'm very sorry. I understand you're upset with me. It's not an excuse, but I understand that. And then when Cloissoné comes in, she like kind of points at her and is like, is this, who is this?
It's my daughter.
Ooh. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances, young lady.
Me too.
So, listen, I take full responsibility for telling you to come up here and do this. And I understand that you're upset that I am asking you to now not do this. But in my defense, I knew Volpo had pretensions towards being dangerous. I didn't know he actually was. I had not seen what the doctor saw last night ever before. And it sounds to me more and more like the safe route is to just leave the head in place. I'm sorry that I went too soon. I had information as the doctor talks to Cipital. I have a source of unusual information. It pushed me towards restoring the head to Ohio. It is what Cipital referred to as the love annihilator. So yeah, the more eager it became, the less trustworthy I found it. And the people with me, I do not think that their interests are as aligned with mine as I thought. I think what I wanted to do with this was realign energies so that there would be less happening. And I think they want to take this and make there be more happening. And given what I've observed of Mansteel and the others, and I do not want to see their plans come to fruition. So I think Volpo said his people do not have what it takes to steal this. I think if we just leave it in place, that will be safest. And I can try and make this up to you in whatever way I am able.
What if new mission says that we make it so nobody gets it? Ever.
That would be good too. What are you thinking? I'm listening.
Well,
destroy it, right?
I look at Cloissoné and say, yup.
And, the darkness looks between. What would you require to have that happen?
If gravity is not enough, a little trip to a construction site to lighten off some caps and some TNT.
Are you sure you were willing to destroy this artifact? It's powerful. That sort of release of energy, you get, if it's uncontrolled, you get entropic effects. You get a lot of... I worry that destroying this would be like dropping a lit match on an oil-soaked rag.
Okay. So is there a place where the oil-soaked rag can be pitched into a pool, so to speak?
And Kelly's like, why don't you just leave it where it is? I mean, that's the easiest course, isn't it? To just do nothing?
Unless they get another team to come in and steal it.
I mean, it is very powerful, right? And a lot of people who knew about it would want to get it. So even if they can't get it now, I don't imagine Mansteel and Count Volpel as people who are easily led away from something they're hunting. Mansteel seems to be a man who wants to get his way, and Count Volpel is a maniac. What would make you think they would fully stop?
And they kind of exchange a look, and then they look at the darkness, and the darkness goes, I am not interested in being the one who stops them.
Mara, you think if the Count and Man of Steel were stopped, this thing would be safe where it is?
I don't know. There may be more where they came from. They brought someone else in when we crossed the border who I'd never heard of before, this fellow named Roger Cross. He doesn't say much, but I get a bad vibe off him.
So sometimes at the Carney, we get a new ride. Everybody wants on it. Most popular thing all the season. By the end of the season, even if it was brand new, it looks about as rough as everything else, especially when we go to the next town. Is there a way we could make this thing so popular that it's worthless?
Oh, you mean that the museum would pay attention to it so much and secure it so that no one would be able to steal it?
Absolutely. Or better yet, just something that everybody just wants to get a look at it. You know, everybody's got to go by, and it's never alone.
Nothing comes to my mind. And, the darkness says, if you want to destroy it, I can offer what help I have. At the very least, I can keep the others from interfering with you while you act. That, I think, is within my my abilities.
I look at Karen and Kim, kind of shrudge.
If we just try to steal it and fail, they'll increase security.
And Dr. Colbert will unmute his phone like, we don't even need to attempt to steal. We only need to threaten it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mara, did you put the head in my head back in the desert? Or
nope. I don't. You saw the head when you were in your dream state?
Yeah.
That's alarming.
Yeah, well, I just assumed it was you, given the current context. But if not, I mean, should we really just leave it?
No, I can't put things in your head.
I saw it too. At that ritual we did.
Yeah, I saw it there too.
Oh.
Wow.
That makes me feel better. And
it's what originally put me on it. And Kelly kind of looks at him like ritual, and Mara's like, not now. All right, so what are your plans? What does the crew want to do? Because we're kind of coming up on 10 here.
Yes. Well, Cipatel mentioned that this is a key, and depending on how the key is put in the lock, a different thing will happen. I don't think it's wise to destroy it when we don't understand those forces. I think if we simply anonymously contact the museum and threaten to steal the head, that gets the short-term détente we want, and we figure things out in a hypothetical session, third-or session.
All right. So is the plan, are all of you okay with the plan of just, we threaten the head and let the museum keep it from the crazies and then head back?
I think we can do a little bit better by making Count Volpo threaten the head.
How are you going to make Count Volpo threaten the head?
You have a lot of digital samples of his voice.
Yeah, and Karen, if you can make people just do things by telling them, we could probably get someone to plug in a USB that looks like it's going to take down their security system but doesn't really work. that has his fingerprints all over it and audio calls that he's made. We can monitor or manipulate in some way.
It's a little complicated. Yeah, making him do things. It's, you know, short, quick stuff like drop the gun, run over there, you know, give me the keys. It's not things like concoct call the police and tell them you're planning to steal a giant stone head.
No, I mean, actually just use the command to make a security guard plug in the USB into the terminal for the security company, their private thing that would broadcast wirelessly so that we could access it.
Or Mara could feed some information to him, prompting that we've just got pissed and gone off, and that he's going to have to set up another team.
Couldn't Mara just tell him the security's all gone and he can walk in and take it? And
would he believe her?
That's what Dr. Colbart is going to ask.
Yeah, he does not maybe trust me as much as he once did. He was very insistent this morning that I answer him about what was said, and I told him, truthfully, most of what the Cipotal entity said, I did not mention to him that we asked him questions before it arrived to speak through him, because I don't think any of us want him to know what he accidentally told us. As far as he can tell, he and we are still allies of convenience in this matter. But I don't think I can deter him from trying to get the head for his own purposes.
Could you goad him to do it more aggressively?
And, you know, Kelly's like, what if we try and steal it and just do a really bad job? And the darkness is like,
What if Jerome tries and does a really bad job?
I mean, I'm willing to do it if you think it's important enough. I don't want men like that to become any more powerful.
Well, you know, as Jerome, you guys could tell Karen as Jerome about this and have her, you know, say, yeah, there's a very credible threat to the head, as Jerome, knowing exactly how to report it. And then the real Jerome's like, what the hell? No, I never said all that. But by that point, and it's something that Jerome would naturally be inclined to do. So you wouldn't have to coerce or persuade Karen as Jerome to do it. You would just say, hey, listen, weird stuff's going on. It's all about the head. You museum guards have to triple down on protecting it.
Yeah, we could turn them on to the hotel room of the Count as long as we can get, as long as, like, I don't know, Mara, the darkness, can you remove Dr. A's phone from that room?
And they're like, he left his phone in there?
He sure did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called
she get that back.
At this point, the darkness actually pulls their hood back and puts their head in their hands. Sure, we can try. We can try to get that phone. Where in the room is it?
It's under the bed.
And Kelly's like, yeah, great. Just what I want. Just what I want least in the world. More proximity to Count Volpo's bed after what I saw last night.
Does he have a computer?
Yeah, he's got a laptop, but I don't think he's turned it on the whole trip. He's on some kind of primitive thing.
Kim,
plan.
Could you hack into the museum, but sloppy, so it leaves a trail, but lead it back to the Count? Like,
that's a good idea.
Hacking into the plans to try to steal from the museum, then it gives a paper trail that you can get arrested for.
You could do that if you got his computer. So it sounds like rather than heisting the head, what you guys want to do is break into Volpo's room.
Make it look like he's going to.
And then just pretend to heist the head.
All right. So is that the plan? Okay. I'm not sure y'all even honestly need to roll this. Between Mara's, being able to tip you guys wise to when the crew, to what their crew is doing. Give me, Jesse, give me, okay. Are you guys doing this?
Sneak into his room and Kim use his computer.
Okay.
All right. Jesse, give me the roll to break into his room.
Sure. So I'm going to do my re-roll, thinking about the trinket that I buried the first day of being here. So the 81 is not what we need.
You can flip-flop it.
Did you flip it?
No, but I will this one. 13.
Okay. All right. Yeah. These are actually pretty good locks. You're as he goes up, he's like, yeah, this is another one. Look at this. The same strike plate. This isn't the strike plate that came with the lock. This is a strike plate that they got like 1,000 of them from Home Depot, and it's just really easier to install it loose and sloppy than to install it tight and do the right job. And the door's open. The thing is, people don't care about crafts anymore. All right, so you dart the team darts in, finds his laptop, recovers the doc's phone. Kim, give me this roll.
That is 66, which is a matched fail.
Passions come into play.
But my noble passion, protecting the general public, would that come into play here?
Well, he is a maniac biter planning to steal what seems to be some kind of apocalyptic artifact. Sure.
Yeah.
You certainly believe you're protecting the...
Well, it's 87, which is at least not matched.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, even flip-flopping's not going to help you. You cannot get into his computer. It is just locked up tight. That password is not yielding. It's not yielding.
Can I just, on a whim, I'm going to try the 618835. And then if that doesn't work, we'll come up with a plan.
Nope. That is not his password.
And Greg, while Karen is inside Volpo's room, she's going to attempt to steal a few of his articles of clothing.
Oh, yeah. That's easy.
And, yeah, cool. And she awkwardly molests her for way too long, feeling the weave of different things. And it's odd. That's who she is.
All right. Okay, yeah, you can't get into his computer. What's plan B?
You can use computer at the museum.
Do you want to get into his computer?
Yeah, sure do.
I could become him, and then you could threaten me, and then I would open it for you, maybe. Or I might try to bite you.
Let's tie your hands and tie you to a chair first.
Will you tie me?
Yes.
Just make sure I'm safe. I'm not comfortable with this entirely. If it needs to be done, I'll do it.
Okay.
But he's a terrible person.
All right. Are you going to do this in his room? Going to take his computer and take it back somewhere else?
Okay.
Do this in the van somewhere.
Okay.
Is there a plan to eventually bring the stuff back?
Yeah, we have to bring
That I think is the question.
Give it to Mara. She can make it her problem.
Sounds good.
All right. Yeah. Give me that spell roll.
All right. And she's putting on his clothes, and she's like, "Oh."
We could put him on Cepatal and then try to just get him to say the password.
I'd rather not have us
sound like that worked so well last time.
I'd rather have us not encounter him if we can avoid it.
Okay.
Right, and so it sounds like they restrain me or whatever. They're ready to. Right?
No, restrain you before you turn.
Okay.
So this match closed, and I got a 21.
Okay, so yeah, you all see her shift and then it's just a twist, and then Count Volpa. What is the meaning of this? How dare you restrain me in this disgraceful fashion?
I slap
Okay.
him.
Yeah, if you've
Cloissoné slaps him.
have you ever been stabbed by a guy in a wheelchair, Cal?
He starts thrashing and trying to get loose. But you tied him pretty good.
Yeah, if you don't want to get stabbed today, just use your password.
Go to hell. Okay, so
I'll pull it. I guess I'll pull out the knife and try to be scary with it.
okay. Are you genuinely willing to stab him, knowing that you'll actually be stabbing
That's
Karen?
the thing. I don't think I really am willing to stab Karen.
Just make it believable.
Okay,
But,
give me that lie roll.
yeah. That is a 19.
Okay.
My lie
you've
is
got-
20. So.
And let's see. He just looks at you and he's like, do your worst. You gotta do butt stuff? Why don't you get that out of the way first? Why don't you just slit my tongue in half?
Anyone?
Okay, well, you know, yeah, you got he told you his weight when you were figuring out how to dose him with Cipitol. You could dose him with something else that's just to make him babble. Although he is in an agitated state now.
I mean, yeah, that's your wheelhouse, Doc.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the kind of like look.
Do you have to use Karen's weight, or do you use his weight?
I'm gonna use the middle of the two because I'm not
Okay.
really sure. So maybe I'll take whatever.
These are
sort of
unsure.
shift.
Yeah, none of these drugs are really rated for use on transformed magicians. Okay, give me your doc roll. You can do something pretty safe that'll just make him feel drunk.
Yeah, that's.
Can I say something to him while she's or while the doc's putting together that medicine?
Sure.
Be like, you can give us the password, or we will be a stumbling block on every one of your next steps towards that head you like so much.
And I'm gonna hit a 37 with my flip flop. So even if I'm shifted, I'm
Yeah, he snaps his teeth at you. He is literally trying to gnash his way over it, but it would be funny if you didn't know what he'd done to the doc.
I kind of go behind him and like get his leg and like
Yeah, you can get it right. This will go in the butt. This one doesn't have to go in. This particular medicine can be delivered subcutaneously. So yeah, you jab it and it's like, what are you talking about? You'll never stop us. We have...
Stop you. I'm just trying to get you that recording you were so insistent about, but I can't get into your computer to put it on your desktop.
Give me that lie roll, Doc.
One more try. 20! Success!
Well, I can't tell you my password, because, that would be bad information security. But if you put the laptop... Why am I tied up? If you put the laptop here, I'll unlock it for you, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, his plummy accent completely disappears as soon as he's drugged.
Very kind of like...
Yeah, you don't want to get
sort of
like...
way.
You stayed out of biting range, but you gingerly put it in... There you go. And, yeah, the... His screensaver, that shirt with 3 wolves howling at the moon?
Yeah!
That's it.
He's my favorite. I don't care what anyone else says about him. He's my favorite.
You're your favorite, Karen. You're your favorite.
Oh, he is.
I whispered to Kim to change the password before we're done with it.
Yeah, that's the perfect dick move.
Yep, will do.
All right. So yeah, eventually Karen just turns back into Karen, with a fairly horrendous hangover. and a sore spot on where the needle went in. But yeah, Volpo does not seem to have, Volpo would have no idea that you extorted his password out of him. And yeah, so you stitch him up. Should we call it there?
I think so. I do get Karen whatever hangover cures I have.
Oh. The doc's hangover cures are wonderful. I know. Yeah, I know exactly what's going to make you feel better after, after that one. You just are going to want this one. Here, eat a banana and drink a whole lot of water.
And I try to tell if it was over or under, so I know next time if she transforms into somebody, which one of the weights I ought to use. What direction did I go?
Yeah, you can't really tell.
Okay,
it's weird. Yeah, it's sleepy nighttime for Karen.
Sounds good.
Okay. So the group successfully exfiltrates from Canada, leaving the head in place, but with increased security, and following the news, you do read about the arrest of one. Let me find his actual name.
Wait, Volpo and Mansteel aren't their real names?
This is very disappointing. He's no longer my favorite.
I hope
his government name is Darren. It's coming up.
I got bit by a Darren?
You got bit by a Darren. A Darren owned you. Live with
Darren
that.
Hordern.
Gotta roll that self.
He's a regional manager for Pancake Town restaurants.
I got bit by a regional manager.
At
least it wasn't the assistant to the regional manager.
Sure, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so there are witnesses that he was they found your blood in the hall, so they know an unidentified person was bleeding fairly copiously in a downtown museum or a downtown hotel with the blood trail coming right out of his room.
The guards had seen the Count acting at the museum.
I remember seeing that crazy guy.
So yeah, he's at least called in for questioning, and they apparently did not like the answers they got.
Okay.
He usually does so well under arrest, this Count. So.
Well, when arrested, he might have just been cool and suave.
I'm sure.
It was only when they put him in population with the other prisoners, and they thought, oh, this guy. We can push this guy around. Things got really ugly.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We've made a terrible error in judgment. That guy bites people.
I thought I had a kindred spirit in pursuit of pure knowledge. They bit me.
For a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's what
Love's
that'll
not
get
real.
You. Wow, and you didn't even directly encounter the love annihilator. So.
My love for him was sure annihilated, Greg.
That usually happens in these circumstances. So I hope you all enjoyed the game.
Thank you.
You were the only group that left the head in place, which is a legitimate option. So whoever proceeds in the next round, people take on the roles from the other crew. So or for at least part of it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So one of you could wind up playing Man-Steel and finding out what his deal is.
Lord Volpo. He's the only
Lord
choice.
Volpo, yeah.
Lord Volpo's the only choice.
Are we the only one who knows he's a biter? You bite anybody else?
Let's see. Oh yeah, in one game he bit Kim's kneecap badly enough to tear the tendon.
Oof.
And tried to stick his face in this was a female Kim, tried to stick his face in her gunshot wound after Man-Steel shot her. So yeah, that one went pretty dark pretty fast.
Ours seemed kind of fun in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And there's perhaps a different tone.
Yep. Now, well, fun on Twin Peaks. Did you watch Firewalk with me? So
early in the series.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good game, everybody. Thank you very much. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll see who moves on.